Chapter 481. C482 I'm AFK. In Tong Woody's heart, there was an emotion that he had never felt before. He tried to understand it and experience it deeply. Finally, he figured out that this emotion was what people often call frustration. That's right, it's just frustration. Since his birth, he has gathered great luck in the immortal world. It can be said that he has never been defeated and is invincible in single combat. This is also why he is called Tong Woody. He was extremely proud in his heart, and had never experienced the feeling of being hit. He was always going smoothly, and he seemed to be the only darling between heaven and earth. But now, Tong Woody, who was defeated by Yi Junlin, really felt the frustration. I simply can't believe that someone can defeat him in this trial. At this time, hearing the blame from his teammates, Tong Woody felt even more unhappy and roared. Shut up, didn't you just die once? I will definitely defeat him next time. If you keep arguing, I will kill him directly. Hear the words. Bao Nishwang and others were silent, not daring to refute. After all, Tong Woody is the core of the team, and you have to rely on him to win. Woody is so lonely, just wait for me, the fun has just begun. Tong Woody gritted his teeth. His eyes were filled with vengeful rage. As the undefeated immortal emperor, he must find his place. As for the way to break the situation, you need to upgrade quickly to gain a level advantage and obtain more talent cards with powerful characteristics to arm yourself. Other side, although he killed Tong Woody, Yi Junlin did not relax his vigilance because he knew that he barely won. If you want to maintain the results, you must continue to upgrade. Only in this way can you improve your own advantages and continue to suppress the opponent. Therefore, Yi Junlin went crazy to farm and accumulate experience. When he reached the 6th level, a special super talent card caught his attention. The characteristics are very strange. As long as you stay at your own altar for 10 minutes, you can obtain the full level of cultivation. That is the highest level of the character, level 12. There's a saying, you can reach the level directly in 10 minutes. This deal seems to be a good deal. Yi Junlin rubbed his chin, his eyes showing strong interest. You must know that the higher the level, the more experience is required. Relying on clearing the jungle and killing enemy heroes, if you want to reach the full level 12th level, you basically have to wait until the later stages of the game. The time required must be at least an hour. Therefore, you can reach the full level in 10 minutes, and anyone who is not a fool knows how to choose. In the contest between him and Tong Woody, he must race against time to upgrade. Whoever is at a higher level will have a greater advantage. Instead of having to go around farming and catching people, it would be more practical to hang up in the spring for 10 minutes. Because as soon as 10 minutes pass, he will be a full-level boss. When the time comes, let alone one Tong Woody, even 3 Tong Woody, he can kill them all with one sword. Certainly, you must ensure that the other party will not push to the high ground within 10 minutes. If this is the case, it will be embarrassing. But Yi Junlin then thought about it. After Tong Woody lost once, he would never dare to be so aggressive. He would definitely develop like crazy to ensure that he has the power to defeat him. During this period, it is impossible to call in advance. Think about it. Yi Junlin opened the teleportation scroll and decisively chose to return to the city and hang up. Aha! There was a burst of light. Yi Junlin appeared on the altar, sheathed his sword without hesitation, then sat cross-legged and closed his eyes to rest. In these short 10 minutes, everything that happened in the canyon had nothing to do with him. The monks outside were surprised and confused by this abnormal behavior. Why did he suddenly go back while he was doing this? Could it be that you don't want to play anymore? At the same time, after resurrecting, Tong Woody either clears troops or clears the jungle, and his cultivation level also rises to the 6th level. Equipped with multiple super-grade talent cards, his own strength has become even stronger than before. But Tong Woody knew very well that it would be very difficult to defeat Yi Junlin with this ability alone. The reason is simple, he is working hard and others are working hard. All he has to do is work harder than others to have a chance of winning. Before he was unsure, Tong Woody decided to continue his development and try to avoid direct conflicts. He didn't want to be defeated a second time. Next time we meet, he will win. Suddenly, a canyon notification sounded in my mind. Congratulations to the most beautiful woman in the immortal world for successfully killing Luo Wuxie, a despicable piece of shit. Close black lens bracket. On the road, a corpse fell in a pool of blood, and standing next to it was a charming fox girl with one hand on her hips and a bulging figure. That charming face had a hint of sarcasm. TCH, a scum like you still wants to fight with me. Luo Qingwu said disdainfully. Just now, Bao Nishhuang couldn't bear it anymore and risked her life to fight her to the death. However, Luo Qingwu was stronger than her, and her life was lost before she could even return to the tower. After hearing this canyon prompt, Luo Qingwu felt strange for no reason. Teacher, Master, are you okay? At this time, Tang Yaoyao asked tentatively. She knew that Bao Nishhuang's nickname was a scolding of Luo Qingwu. In fact, she saw it at the beginning, but she didn't say it out loud for fear of embarrassing her master. Now that the canyon prompt sounded, everyone knew about it, and Tang Yaoyao asked out of concern. Unexpectedly, Luo Qingwu looked confused. I'm very good. Don't you know that I killed this bitch as a teacher? But her name, oh, you're talking about this. She's scolding Luo Wushai. What does it have to do with me, Luo Qingwu? Luo Qingwu said seriously. That makes sense, Tang Yaoyao said with a smile. It seems that she still underestimated the thickness of her master's face. On the altar, Bao Nishhuang, who was in the resurrection stage, was so angry that she went crazy. She can be killed by the enemy, but the most intolerable thing is to die at the hands of Luo Qingwu's supporters. It feels like your dignity has been trampled on for the second time. Stop screaming, I'll kill her on the way. Tong Wudi turned his attention to the road and shuttled through the jungle. If you want to level up quickly, you need to not only spawn monsters and clear troops but also kill enemies. Thank you, fellow Taoist, for taking the initiative. Bao Nishhuang was very happy. If it weren't for the constraints of the environment, she would really want Tong Wudi to have fun in return. After all, she is really good at keeping things cool. Now, Luo Qingwu led her troops and blew up the enemy's first defensive tower. Then she drove straight in and took advantage of the situation to pull out the second tower. Suddenly, a strong sense of oppression spread like a tide. Luo Qingwu felt that the hairs on her hair were standing on end and she was feeling cold all over her body. Turning his head to look, he found Tong Wudi appearing behind him, filled with the aura of a king. Just from the first glance, Luo Qingwu knew that this person was invincible. Although you can't beat me with a beating, you can still get high with oral sex, right? Hey, the defeated emperor came to kill me in person, I am so proud of you. Luo Qingwu said with a strange tone. Defeat the great emperor. Upon hearing this name, Tong Wudi's veins popped out on his forehead and he shouted angrily, are you blind? My name is the Invincible Emperor. You were undefeated before, but now you have to be called a disastrous defeat because you lost to my teammates. Luo Qingwu continued to speak. What? The new name doesn't sound good. You'll get used to it after hearing it more often. Defeating the great emperor, defeating the great emperor, defeating the great emperor. Hear the words. Tong Wudi was so angry that smoke was rising from his head, and he said angrily. Witch, shut up. With a bang, a dragon capturing hand slapped Luo Qingwu into ashes. Congratulations to the Invincible Emperor for successfully killing the most beautiful woman in the immortal world. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this prompt, Tong Wudi felt even more annoyed for no reason. The most beautiful woman in the immortal world. Pooh. Shameless. The great defeat. Thinking of this title, Tong Wudi was so angry that he gritted his teeth and felt humiliated in his heart. Why do you call him the defeated emperor? Isn't it good to regret defeating the great emperor? At least the literal meaning can be tactful. No, I am still the undefeated emperor. As long as the winner of this contest has not been decided, I cannot draw conclusions so quickly. Thinking of this, Tong Wudi's eyes burst out with light, and his belief in victory regrouped. Luo Qingwu, who was slapped to death, returned to the Fire Tribe's altar. HMPH, the damn defeated emperor, he is so impatient. Luo Qingwu said angrily. Suddenly, she saw a shamat young man sitting cross-legged next to him, his eyes closed as if he was not paying attention to the world. Luo Qingwu said in surprise. Fellow Taoist Yi, what are you doing? This duel is not over yet. Yi Junlin remained motionless, with his eyes closed, and said calmly, didn't you see? I'm hanging up in Quanshui. Luo Qingwu, Chapter 482. C483 Everyone is working hard to upgrade. What the hell is hanging up? Luo Qingwu had never heard of it, but when she saw Yi Junlin's arrogant behavior, she felt very puzzled. Even the guy opposite you who was defeated by you was racing against time to upgrade, but as a result, as the winner, you became passive. Fellow Taoist Yi, are you giving up early? Can you tell me a reason? Luo Qingwu said in shock and uncertainty. If this person chooses to give up, then there is no need for everyone to continue playing, because it is impossible for them to defeat the opponent with their strength alone. Yi Junlin was speechless. Who says I'm giving up? Others hang up because they are passive, but I hang up because I am trying to upgrade. Can this be the same? Don't worry, this is only temporary. You continue to do your thing, and don't let the other side see the clues and take advantage of it. As long as I'm here, you won't lose this game. Guaranteed to win. Yi Junlin spoke firmly. Hear the words. Luo Qingwu was startled and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although I don't understand why this is happening, as long as this man makes a promise, it will be fulfilled 100% of the time. Next, just follow the instructions. Okay, we'll wait for you. After being resurrected, Luo Qingwu twisted her waist and walked out of the altar, with 9 white fluffy fox tails swinging behind her. Before leaving, either intentionally or unintentionally, the fox's tail lightly brushed Yi Junlin. Yi Junlin felt his nose itchy, and then he couldn't help sneezing. Subconsciously, he opened his eyes and looked at the arrogant back, with a look of helplessness flashing in his eyes. Hey, you did it on purpose, right? Yi Junlin said angrily. Kekeki. Luo Qingwu's silver bell-like laughter came from a distance, her laughter was so wild and heartwarming. Yi Junlin shook his head, continued to close his eyes, and waited quietly for 10 minutes to pass. As soon as the time comes, he will be a full-level boss. When the time comes, kill directly through the canyon and level the high ground on the opposite side. Now, the two groups of people on the bottom lane were fighting fiercely. Tang Yaoyao kept pulling strings and shooting arrows, her hair flying like a waterfall, and her delicate and cute face full of determination. The big Mushroom King acts as an assistant, treating her and resisting damage. Boom boom boom, exploding light groups came and went, and smoke and dust were everywhere. The two people on the opposite side obviously didn't feel comfortable and were soon at a disadvantage. Damn it, I can't beat him. The shooter on the other side is so fierce. Asking for support, requesting support from the bottom lane. They shouted in embarrassment. Tang Shanzi, let's get rid of them quickly. The big Mushroom King was a little nervous, fearing that it would increase unfavorable factors. Good. Tang Yaoyao's momentum was like a rainbow, and every arrow was a precise critical strike, leaving both of them scarred and drained of blood. Just when she was about to complete the double kill, a sudden change occurred. A knife surrounded by purple light flew towards her and hit her hard on the back. Aha! Tang Yaoyao's mouth was bleeding and her face was pale. At the same time, she was shocked inside. She didn't expect that there was an enemy behind her. When did this appear? Hee. A man wearing a half mask on his face and wearing a dark purple robe was released from the passive state of invisibility. His eyes were as sharp as an eagle, revealing a hint of joking. No, their reinforcements have arrived. The big Mushroom King was shocked and angry, and quickly cast a healing spell, covering Tang Yaoyao's body. Tang Yaoyao felt much better now, and immediately turned around to attack the guy who was sneaking up from behind. Aha! Unexpectedly, Lin Feiyu disappeared on the spot, teleported behind Tang Yaoyao, stabbed him several times, and struck hard with his swords. Since the character Tang Yaoyao chose was a squishy one, it was naturally difficult for him to withstand such a violent output, and most of his health bar dropped in an instant. If the big Mushroom King hadn't been there to treat her, she would have been killed on the spot. But if Lin Feiyu continues to fight like this, Tang Yaoyao will soon bleed to death. Thank you, fellow Taoist Lin. The other two enemies were overjoyed and hurriedly chased after them, hoping to kill Tang Yaoyao and Big Mushroom King. It's over. Seeing the situation take a turn for the worse, a flash of despair flashed in the eyes of the Big Mushroom King. Humph, I don't think I exist, right? A cold shout came from the river next to it, and a young man in a Confucian shirt was seen holding a book of saints and sages and stepping on the light to reach the lower road. Yes, it's fellow Taoist Kanglang, Tang Yaoyao, who was getting weaker and weaker, had a little surprise on his eyebrows when he saw the person coming. Bastard, I'll deal with you later too. Lin Feiyu said fiercely. Lord Kanglang laughed in anger, ignorant young man, let me show you my power. After being tortured by Tong Wudi in the middle lane and leaving a psychological shadow, he wanted to come to the bottom lane to find a sense of presence. When he saw 3 enemies in the bottom lane, he was very excited. There is no limit to learning. Lord Kanglang used his strongest move, and the sage book in his hand burst into infinite light. The surroundings were filled with the sound of reading, cleansing the soul. Swish swish swish, countless lines of ancient words flew out of the book and gathered into a raging wave. Even each wave was composed of words, and they suppressed it with overwhelming momentum. No, the 2 enemies, who were already weak, had no room to resist in the face of this move. They were instantly exploded and wiped out. Hiss, Lin Feiyu gasped in fright, and immediately gave up chasing Tang Yaoyao, entering the invisible state and trying to escape. Kill. Kanglang Jun raised the sage book in his hand, and countless words flew out and gathered into a scarlet, kill, word, smashing directly towards someone. Ah! Although no one was seen, there was a scream. Boom! After a while, there was a body in the broken pit, which was the dead Lin Feiyu. Ginger is still the best. Kanglang Jun predicted Lin Feiyu's retreat route, so he could hit the opponent accurately. Congratulations to Suiyu Liunian for completing a triple kill. Closing square bracket. The canyon prompt sounded. Fellow Taoist Kanglang is so powerful. Tang Yaoyao said in surprise. If the first two were picking up heads, then the latter one killed Lin Feiyu in 1 second, which shows that his strength is really strong. Thank you for your help, fellow Taoist Kanglang. Big Mushroom King said gratefully. After getting the triple kill, Kanglang Jun straightened his back, waved his hand, and said proudly. It's a small matter. After pretending to be cool, he released the depression that had been suppressed for a long time, and felt refreshed. After all, his strength in this game was very strong. If there was no monster Tong Wudi, he could walk sideways in the canyon. It's a pity that Tong Wudi was suppressing him, just like the moonlight covering the fireflies, making him look insignificant. But now, he shined in the bottom lane, and he also vented his anger. Ahem, no kidding, now I can sweep the 4 opponents by myself. In his excited mood, Kanglang Jun pretended to cough a few times and bowed. But why 4 people? Tang Yaoyao tilted his head. Kanglang Jun was speechless. Is there any need to ask this? That's because the last one can't be beaten. However, at this time, the terrifying sense of oppression came instantly, making Kanglang Jun and the other 2 feel like they were falling into an ice cellar, and their bodies were cold. Humph, I didn't expect you, an old man, to come to the bottom lane to show off your power. A domineering man wearing a black dragon robe and an emperor's crown came over with a dragon-like and tiger-like step, his eyes revealing a playful look. Seeing the newcomer, Kanglang Jun, who was originally proud, instantly became like a mouse seeing a cat, wanting to cry but not having tears. I just finished pretending and you come. You are sincere, right? Run. The big Mushroom King was so scared that his scalp was numb, and he didn't dare to look Tong Wudi in the eye. The moment I appeared, you are already dead. Tong Wudi sneered and raised his 2 fingers to point. Wow, a huge formation appeared under the feet of Kanglang Jun and the other 2, blooming with brilliant golden light. Swish swish swish. Above their heads, dense golden sword energy fell like a rainstorm. With unwilling eyes, Kanglang Jun and the other 2 fell into the golden sword formation. Congratulations to the unbeaten emperor for completing a triple kill. Closing square bracket. The magnificent canyon prompt sounded, announcing this achievement. The next second, Tong Wudi's level was upgraded to level 7. After selecting the talent card, a hint of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. Why is it a top-grade talent card this time? It's so unlucky. If it were another trialer, he would be so happy that he would almost go crazy if he had a top-grade talent card. But with Tong Wudi's identity, the top-grade talent card is just a helpless choice. What he longs for is the super-grade talent card. Because when competing with opponents like Yi Junlin, the super-grade talent card can play the strongest role. However, the characteristics of this top-grade talent card can give him unique conditions when brushing the wild. That is, the damage caused to wild monsters will increase by 200%, and the experience gained from killing wild monsters will be doubled. This made Tong Wudi feel that getting this card was not a bad thing. After all, his top priority is to upgrade the character's level. The sooner the better. At this time, seeing the Water Tribe team go along the bottom road, Tong Wudi did not choose to lead the line, but chose to leave without hesitation and go deep into the jungle to hunt the beasts. He wants to brush the jungle, crazy brush the jungle. If at this time, the line of soldiers goes to the high ground to destroy the tower, it will inevitably attract Yi Junlin's interception. In order to avoid direct conflict, simply develop a wave of wretchedness. Anyway, in Tong Wudi's view, Yi Junlin must also work hard to brush the jungle everywhere to accumulate experience in order to upgrade. Compared to you, I have a greater advantage. I, Tong Wudi, am the final winner. The high ground of the Fire Tribe. The 3 Kanglang Juns on the altar looked strange. Senior Yi, what are you doing? As the master uncomfortable. The 3 Kanglang Juns were also puzzled by Yi Junlin's uncharacteristic behavior. Yi Junlin didn't even bother to raise his eyelids, and said, "Don't make noise, can't you see I'm AFK?" The 3 looked at each other. What does AFK mean? Anyway, Just do what you need to do, I'll be fine soon. Yi Junlin added, before that, don't bother me. Yes. The three people who resurrected hurriedly left the altar. Although they didn't understand, they chose to respect. Hey, you don't know how much effort I have to make to reach the maximum level. Yi Junlin sighed. On the other side, Tong Wudi wandered around in the vast jungle. Due to his unique ability to brush the jungle, it was easy for him to kill wild monsters. He didn't even need to use skills, just a few normal attacks. During this period, more than half of the wild monsters were killed, turning into a huge amount of experience to boost his progress bar. Suddenly, Tong Wudi felt a trace of terrifying power and followed the breath to the front of the abyss. Roar! Sensing someone approaching, a majestic dragon roar came from the depths of the abyss. Swish! A huge dark dragon flapped its wings and flew out, its eyes filled with cold murderous intent, looking down at Tong Wudi. Could this be the strongest monster in the canyon? Tong Wudi said with interest. It just so happened that he wanted to level up in the jungle, so he might as well take this big guy as a starter. Dragon Catcher. A huge golden palm stretched out from the void, containing infinite power and slapping the shadow dragon. Window. _Tabula equals window. _Tabula. Push mode. Thumbs feed 01. Container. Tabula below article feed. Placement. Below article feed. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 483. C484 The max level boss is born. Boom. The shadow dragon was slapped on the ground, setting off a mushroom cloud of smoke. The dragon's scales covering its whole body were broken and dripping with blood. The originally majestic appearance became very miserable. The full health bar above his head dropped by more than half in an instant. Then, Tong Wudi connected with the golden sword formation. Swish, swish, countless golden sword energy fell, piercing the huge body of the shadow dragon. Roar! The shadow dragon screamed in pain, his voice full of despair and helplessness. Soon, the sound stopped suddenly, leaving only a scarred dragon corpse lying on the ground. From appearance to death, it takes less than 10 seconds. You know, before, the ancestors of Changsheng and the others had to struggle for a long time to get it done under the joint siege, and this was still based on the professional guidance of senior players like the ancestors of Changsheng. But Tong Wudi didn't need any tactics and easily killed the shadow dragon with just 2 moves. Buzz buzz. In an instant, Tong Wudi felt a mysterious force blessing his body. After killing the shadow dragon, everyone in your camp, including the soldiers, will have their speed, defense, and attack power increased by 60%. At this time, his cultivation level also rose to the 8th level. So far, Tong Wudi is the highest level being in the game, because both camps are basically at the 5th level, and his character has reached the 8th level. It can be said to be a standout. Fortunately, this time it's a super grade talent card, and its characteristics are also very powerful. Looking at the selected talent card in front of him, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. At this time, Tong Wudi felt that he had won the big dragon and had a level advantage. His strength was simply different from what it was before, and he was sure to compete with Yi Junlin again. Everyone, gather in the middle for a team fight. After a short period of thinking, Tong Wudi didn't want to drag it out any longer, fearing that something might change later, so he decided to gather his teammates and push all the way to a complete end to the opponent. We'll go over there right now. The other 4 teammates were extremely excited and hurried towards their destination. Immediately, 5 more figures appeared on the middle road, leading the mighty aquatic team forward. Invincible Emperor, how confident are you this time? Lin Feiyu asked cautiously. If you lose this kind of all-or-nothing team battle, you can basically declare failure. Before fighting the dragon, it was 50%, but after fighting the dragon, I can only say that I am 100% sure. Tong Wudi's tone was decisive, his eyebrows were filled with determination to win, and his golden eyes were like bright lights, so bright that it was difficult to look directly at them. Very good. The teammates were very excited, as if they saw victory beckoning in advance. Bao Nishuang sneered. Haha, I want that bitch to taste the taste of failure. 5 people pushed all the way, and the momentum was overwhelming. Under the defense tower on the high ground, Kang Langjun and the others looked anxious, watching helplessly as the team on the opposite side continued to approach. What to do? The enemy is coming. After all this, why is Senior Yi still indifferent? Not long after, a large wave of water tribe warriors came to the tower, menacing and shouting to kill. Heard the noise outside. Yi Junlin hung up in the spring, his eyes closed like an old monk's meditation, his face calm, as if all this had nothing to do with him. In fact, he was counting down silently in his heart. It's the last 30 seconds. Just the four of you guarding the tower. Tong Wudi felt something was wrong and narrowed his eyes and asked. At the same time, he looked around vigilantly, fearing that Yi Junlin would emerge from some bushes and attack him. What he didn't know was that he had been hanging up in Quan Shui. We are enough, Mr. Kanglang bravely shouted. Just you. Tong Wudi smiled contemptuously and didn't take these four people seriously, because his only opponent was Yi Junlin. I advise you not to mess around. Don't know how you will die when the time comes. He is watching you secretly. Luo Qingwu deliberately threatened. Seeing this, Lin Feiyu and the others were frightened, and none of them dared to act rashly, fearing that Yi Junlin would suddenly come out. HMPH, do you think I'm afraid? Having said that, Tong Wudi still activated the king's shield in advance, fearing that he would be surprised by Yi Junlin's lack of martial ethics. Then, he burst out with a powerful aura and broke into the tower without fear of the threats from Luo Qingwu and the others. Boom boom boom. This towering tower-like statue was attacked and trembled violently. Cracks appeared throughout the body, and countless rebels fell. What a courage, Luo Qingwu said angrily, hit me. In an instant, the four of them launched a fierce offensive, hitting Tong Wudi head and face. As a result, all the attacks fell on Tong Wudi, and even the protective shield couldn't be broken down. Too weak, Tong Wudi sneered. To him, this attack was like light rain, neither painful nor itchy. The reason why I didn't use my skills to kill these four people was mainly to preserve my strength as much as possible to deal with that guy. Hey, why don't you come up quickly? What are you doing standing still? Tong Wudi said dissatisfied. Kill. Lin Feiyu and the others recovered from the shock and shouted excitedly. Suddenly, a team battle broke out under the tower. Since all four of Luo Qingwu's skills were handed over, they were immediately at an absolute disadvantage when faced with the enemy's output. Soon, they were killed one by one, and the high ground was stained with blood. Boom! At the same time, the overwhelmed defense tower exploded, and a large group of Water Tribe warriors filed in. The situation is one-sided. Tong Wudi stood on the high ground with his hands behind his back, looking as imposing as a dragon. He looked at him with a disdainful look and said in a deep voice, Wudi is so lonely, where have you been hiding? Are you too scared to fight? Tong Wudi felt very strange about Yi Junlin's delay in showing up, and there was a hint of uneasiness in his heart. He always felt that everything was too smooth, and there must be something strange behind it. Go, the energy crystal is in front, as long as we blow it up, we will win. Lin Feiyu said excitedly. Bitch, just open your eyes and see how we dismantle your crystal. Bao Nishuang said excitedly. On the altar, Kanglang Jun and the others had complicated expressions, looking at the Shamat youth who was sitting cross-legged next to them without moving. Master, if you don't take action now, it will be too late, Big Mushroom King said in a low voice with a stiff face. Luo Qingwu said nothing, but she was secretly anxious in her heart. But she believed in the promise made by this man. Boom boom boom, the energy crystal of the Fire Clan began to be attacked, and the long blood bar value was visibly decreasing rapidly. Even so, Yi Junlin, who was sitting cross-legged, was not panicked at all. 3, 2, 1. The countdown was completed silently in his mind. 10 minutes passed. Suddenly, Yi Junlin burst into brilliant light, and his cultivation level rose to the 12th level in an instant. Under the incredible gaze of Luo Qingwu and others, Yi Junlin, a full-level boss, suddenly opened his eyes, stood up decisively, drew his sword and slashed. A clear and sonorous voice seemed to come from the sky, echoing in all directions for a long time. Sword, open, the Heaven Gate, Chapter 484. C485 The End. Yi Junlin, who had been holding back for a long time, when he got his wish and reached the full level, he immediately activated his ultimate move without hesitation. In an instant, a terrifying huge sword light shattered the void, exuding unrivaled power and making the entire highland tremble violently. What? Lin Feiyu and the others were so frightened that they turned pale with fear and felt chills all over their bodies. They watched helplessly as the overwhelming sword light came over them. Ah! Screams sounded one after another. These four people, as well as a large wave of Water Tribe warriors, were all reduced to nothing under the light of this sky-reaching sword. It's you. Tong Wudi's pupils trembled violently, and his scalp almost exploded. Under this unparalleled terrifying sword power, his body was shaking uncontrollably, seemingly out of an instinctive fear, and his heart was greatly shocked. Why has your cultivation level reached level 12? I originally thought that he had the advantage and could stabilize the opponent's head, But little did he know that the gap between the two sides widened even further. Because I work harder than you, Yi Junlin said shamelessly and seriously. At this moment, that sword light, as bright as a vast galaxy, quickly approached Chao Dongwudi. Looking back on the painful lesson of being defeated before and the current situation of being forced to a dead end, Dongwudi's psychological shadow broke out again, and he finally lost control of his emotions and roared. I won't lose. No one can beat me. No one can even think of it. Immediately, he raised his hand and used the Imperial 10,000 swords, intending to attack Yi Junlin with a wave of big moves. Tens of thousands of golden swords condensed into reality, countless sword energy surged horizontally, and the swords clanged loudly. Go! Dongwudi controlled thousands of golden swords and swept away like a hurricane, colliding with the sky-reaching sword light. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom boom. The explosion was earth-shaking, the majestic energy flow raged, the sand and dust rolled, and the rocks stirred. It's a pity that there is a 4-level difference between Dongwudi and Yi Junlin, and with the blessing of 4 super-grade talent cards, the difference in strength is immediately clear. Bang! Countless golden swords shattered inch by inch, unable to withstand the terrifying sword light. Immediately after that sword light came in front of Dongwudi, crushing the king's shield to pieces, as easily as a hammer smashing an eggshell. No! Dongwudi's eyes were full of despair, and his blood turned into ice, freezing to the bone. He lost again, this time even more completely. Congratulations to Invincible, so lonely, for completing 5 consecutive unparalleled games. Close black lens bracket. The canyon chime sounds. Gradually, on the high ground that fell into silence, a young man who killed Matt stood with a sword, exuding an awesome temperament. Just now, he killed 5 people on the opposite side with one move, easily getting 5 kills. Fuck. Kang Langjun's eyes widened, and his heart was greatly shaken. Big Mushroom King and Tang Yaoyao were shocked and stood there in a daze. Luo Qingwumei's eyes widened and she felt extremely incredible. After all, one second they were facing the crisis of losing everything, and the next second they were overturned by that man. The situation reversed so quickly that they were still in a state of confusion for a while. Yi Junlin felt his own power in his body, and a meaningful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. It's time for a wave. Soon, with his only army, he was overwhelmingly advancing, pushing down the tower unstoppably. When arriving at the enemy's high ground, Yi Junlin swung his sword to attack the energy crystal. Click, 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 and the surface of the crystal showed spider web-like cracks, which was enough to show how terrible the damage was. We still lost. On the altar, Lin Feiyu and the others, who had not yet been resurrected, looked ashen and couldn't bear to look directly at him. Among them, the most uncomfortable thing is Dongwudi. He is such a proud and confident person. When he participated in the Supreme Secret Realm, he never thought that he would lose. He was just bored and having fun. Until he met Yi Junlin, his previous belief in invincibility was severely shattered, and he began to seriously doubt his life. I lost. Dongwudi was like a deflated rubber ball, squatting on the ground in despair and holding his head, muttering with a dejected look on his face. Even if he was resurrected, he still had no fighting spirit. Because in his subconscious, he already felt that Yi Junlin was invincible. In the Supreme Canyon, the other party is the only true god. Just when the energy crystal was about to explode, Dongwudi raised his head and looked at the exaggerated Shamat young man, gritted his teeth and asked. Tell me, who are you? He really wants to know the origin of the other party in the real world. Even he was hit to the point of doubting his life, and was tortured to pieces in this contest. Such an existence with unfavorable luck cannot be unknown in the immortal world. Hearing this, Yi Junlin was slightly startled, and said with a mysterious smile. You guess. As soon as these 2 words came out, Dongwudi's mentality exploded, and he immediately lost control of his emotions and roared. I guess you. Bang. Before the cordial greetings could be said, the energy crystal exploded, the entire Supreme Canyon was reduced to nothing, and the scene fell into darkness for an instant. Congratulations, you have successfully reached the Supreme level and won the title of the strongest Supreme. Close black lens bracket. In a strange space, the sound of a secret realm sounded in the ears of the 5 people. Great, we really won. Tang Yaoyao was particularly excited. This was her first time participating in the Supreme Secret Realm and she achieved such a dazzling result. Kang Langjun was also very excited, and could not help but say gratefully, this time it is really thanks to Senior Yi, we are all thanks to him. Yes, thank you Senior Yi. Tang Yaoyao nodded quickly. Looking at Yi Junlin's figure, Luo Qingwu's heart could not calm down for a long time. This peerless genius who came out of Kunlun realm brought her too many shocks along the way. Compared with this kind of person, she is nothing at all, just like a firefly competing with the bright moon, not worth mentioning. I said, this game is guaranteed to win. Yi Junlin made an okay gesture, with a confident smile on his lips. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the task, and the reward is that the Dao level sword intent has reached the level of great perfection. Close black lens bracket. The voice of the system sounded in his mind. In an instant, the Dao level sword intent mastered by Yi Junlin was upgraded to the level of great perfection. What is this concept? Anyone who has reached the highest Dao level sword intent and is promoted to the Immortal Emperor is qualified to be called the Sword Emperor. Most of the Sword Emperors in the world have Dao pin sword intentions between minor success and major success, and only a few people can achieve perfection. This is a rare sword genius in the immortal world that is rare in tens of millions of years. If you can achieve great perfection, you can be praised as the peerless Sword Emperor in the immortal world, because among the ranks of immortal emperors, this kind of existence has the most terrifying killing power, and not many immortal emperors dare to fight it head-on. Now, Yi Junlin is still in the realm of the Immortal Master, and the Dao Pin sword intentions have reached the level of great perfection. No matter which immortal emperor, he will be shocked and deeply incredible. Swish! Suddenly, a turntable appeared in front of everyone, and various rewards were marked on the turntable, such as rare treasures of heaven and earth, or magic weapons and sharp weapons. It is worth mentioning that the secret realm will follow each person's realm and give relevant rewards that match their own realm. The highest reward is the Immortal Master level. Oh, I can also draw a lottery. Yi Junlin pressed it casually, and the roulette began to spin. Hoolalala! The huge roulette gradually stopped. As a burst of light appeared, 10 strange fruits emerged, filled with brilliant light and a very mysterious aura. This is, Yi Junlin raised his eyebrows. When Luo Qingwu saw these 10 strange fruits, she was struck by lightning and exclaimed. This is the immortal Dao fruit. As soon as these words came out, Kanglang Jun was shocked and breathed rapidly. Immortal Dao fruit, this is actually the immortal Dao fruit. The big mushroom king asked in confusion, fellow Taoist Kanglang, what is the immortal Dao fruit? The expression on Kanglang Jun's face froze, and a touch of embarrassment flashed in his eyes. In fact, he didn't know, but subconsciously followed Luo Qingwu's reaction and showed the same surprise, so that he would appear to know more. Well, for this question, I think it's more comprehensive for Immortal Luo to answer. Chapter 485. C486. It's so sad. Luo Qingwu gave him a look of disdain, as if to say if you don't understand, don't pretend. As for the origin of the immortal Dao fruit, I also learned from the mouths of the elders of the sect. It is said that it is a special product that every immortal level powerhouse is forced to leave behind after experiencing the failure of the Emperor Tribulation. This is consistent with Buddhism. The relics of the eminent monk after his death are very similar. So, throughout the ages, the immortal Lord Dao fruit has been very rare, because behind it represents a fallen immortal Lord level powerhouse. Hear the words. Everyone was shocked. Unexpectedly, the origin of an immortal Lord Dao fruit would be so great. That was a powerful immortal master who had failed in the Emperor Tribulation. In other words, he was a top-notch being below the immortal emperor during his lifetime. The so-called Emperor Tribulation is a special test that each immortal lord goes through when he wants to break through the immortal emperor. It is similar to the Tribulation realm monks who overcome the Thunder Tribulation and become immortals. It's just that the Emperor's Tribulation is very different. If you want to say that it is extremely dangerous, it will indeed make the immortal lord fall, but there are also thunders with big thunder and small raindrops, which can allow those who overcome the tribulation to survive without danger. To put it simply, imperial tribulation varies from person to person. If you want to become an immortal emperor, the most important hurdle is to successfully survive the emperor's tribulation. If you succeed, you will be a high-ranking immortal emperor, but if you fail, you will die. In the long years of the immortal world, there are many immortal masters who have fallen into the emperor's tribulation. Only a very few can leap over the dragon gate and become the immortal emperor. This shows how difficult it is to survive the emperor's tribulation. But there are exceptions. It is said that today's undefeated immortal emperor Tong Wudi easily passed through the emperor's tribulation back then. Others had a narrow escape, but for him it was as simple as a fall while walking. His luck made many immortals. Everyone is jealous. Luo Qingwu said happily. Lord Kanglang suddenly slapped his head and exclaimed. The undefeated emperor we met earlier is the name of the old man. That kid is not afraid of being backlashed by this karma. He is really seeking death. He had no doubt that the person he met before was Tong Wudi, because this kind of existence was too far away for him, like an ant looking up at the stars, without thinking about any interaction with the stars in the sky in this life. What's more, the Supreme Secret Realm will restrict the entry of Immortal Emperor-level experts, which is also the reason why Kanglangjun denies Tong Wudi's identity. Tong Wudi, upon hearing this name, Yi Junline's eyes flashed with a strange color, and he couldn't help but have a bold guess in his heart. Could it be that guy who competed with him in the last round? But Yi Junline did not say anything about this conjecture, intending to leave it to be verified in the future. Then what is the function of Immortal Lord Dao fruit? Tang Yaoyao asked curiously. Looking at the floating Immortal Lord Dao fruits one after another, Luo Qingwu's eyes were full of heat. As long as the Immortal King-level powerhouse swallows it, there is a chance to understand the Immortal Lord's laws and get a chance to break through the Immortal Lord. If you are already an Immortal Lord, you can also use this to understand more of the Immortal Lord's laws. In short, an Immortal Lord Dao fruit will definitely cause a sensation in the outside world, and a war belonging to the Immortal Lord level will break out. Quote. As soon as these words came out, Lord Kanglang and the others were shocked, and their eyes changed when they looked at Shanzun Daoguo. Oh my god, one Immortal Lord Dao fruit is like this. Then Senior Yi can get 10 of them at once, isn't it? Tang Yaoyao stretched out her hand to cover her delicate lips, her beautiful eyes widened, and she did not dare to continue talking. That's right, if these 10 Immortal Lord Dao fruits are thrown outside, the sky in the northern cold immortal domain will change. When saying this, Luo Qingwu swallowed hard. It's such an exaggeration. Yi Junline found it a bit funny. The main thing, the Immortal Lord Dao fruit, has no effect on him now, and it is too easy to get. He can get 10 of them in one draw, so he doesn't feel much in his heart. If the immortal ancestor were to see this scene, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood on the spot and his eyes would turn black. You know, he participated in the Supreme Secret Realm 3 times, and each time he reached the top, he only drew one Immortal Supreme Dao fruit. Even so, he felt extremely lucky, extremely grateful, and felt that it was God's mercy. As a result, now someone can actually get 10 Immortal Lord Dao fruits with just a random draw. What would he think if he saw it? At this time, envy turned into envy. Kanglangjun and the others also started to spin the lottery wheel, and finally each received a lot of resource rewards. Attention, the Supreme Secret Realm will be closed, and this secret realm will automatically teleport all trialists out. Close black lens bracket. Warm reminder, do not reveal your identity in the trial, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble. Close black lens bracket. A majestic voice echoed in the secret realm, allowing the monks present to hear it clearly. Since the battle ended, they have been in various spaces in batches. As long as they are the top-ranked team, they are eligible to draw the roulette rewards. Immortal, are your demands so high? At least we got 3rd place. On the other side, several teammates comforted. Although it is a pity to stop in 3rd place, it is already something to be proud of for them. But the core figure of the team in front of him looks depressed until now, as if he has suffered some kind of major mental blow. The immortal ancestor remained indifferent and murmured with gloomy eyes, everything is over. It's okay, at worst, I'll come back next time, as long as you live too long. A teammate comforted out of good intentions. The immortal ancestor's body trembled, and he stiffly twisted his neck to look at the other person, his eyes seeming to say, "You know how to comfort people." Because the 4 chances were completely used up, he no longer had the chance to enter the Supreme Secret Realm. That Wudi is so lonely, who is he? Thinking of the figure of the Shamat youth in his mind, the Changsheng patriarch gnashed his teeth in anger, and a trace of grief and anger flashed in his eyes. At the same time, in the distant immortal court, Tong Wudi's personal consciousness was pulled out of the Supreme Secret Realm. Swish, the jade seal, which symbolizes the highest authority, was thrown out heavily by Tong Wudi and hit on a rainbow bridge, causing the bridge to collapse and causing a huge rumbling sound. What's going on? A group of heavenly soldiers responsible for patrolling the immortal court heard the noise and hurried over to check. As a result, when they saw the jade seal surrounded by immortal light and sacred, no one dared to approach for a while, and they were shocked. Because they recognized that this was an item that only the first-class immortal officials were qualified to hold. This flew out from the Palace of Heavenly Purity. Did the undefeated immortal emperor throw it on purpose? Hiss, a grade A official seal is thrown casually. No one in the entire immortal court can do this. The question is, why did the undefeated immortal emperor do this? Maybe he felt bored and wanted to show off his temper. After all, his personality is the most special in the immortal court. The group of heavenly soldiers discussed. But no one dared to touch the supreme official seal, because they were not qualified with their identities. At this time, a mellow middle-aged voice sounded with doubt, "What are you doing here?" The speaker was a middle-aged Taoist priest with a immortal-like appearance, wearing a dark blue Taoist robe and a Taoist bun on his head. At this moment, he came on auspicious clouds, and his whole body was filled with a mysterious aura. The visitor was the Supreme Formation Master, Lu Wangshu. He was also the first island owner of the fallen Immortal Island and the core founder of the Immortal Court. His status is unquestionable. In a sense, he can even be called the Master of the Immortal Court, but he has not publicly declared it, or he himself has no intention of doing so. Meetings to the Supreme Lu. Seeing Lu Wangshu coming, a group of heavenly soldiers bowed in fear and trepidation. How could this official seal be left here? Lu Wangshu frowned, raised his hand to take away the official seal that looked like a jade seal, with a hint of dissatisfaction in his eyes. Reply to the Supreme Lu, the undefeated Immortal Emperor threw it casually, and we just happened to pass by, a leading team leader said nervously, fearing that he would be involved. It's Tong Wudi. Lu Wangshu frowned, this kid is getting more and more absurd, throwing away the official seal that symbolizes the highest power casually, how can it be? It's none of your business, leave. Yes. On the other side, Tong Wudi was in a bad mood, and was upset about the disastrous defeat in the trial. At the same time, he also felt extremely regretful. He shouldn't have used the official seal to sneak into the supreme secret realm. He thought he was bullying the weak, but he didn't expect that he was bullied. Recalling the scenes in the canyon, Tong Wudi was hit hard and became listless. Undefeated Immortal Emperor, you better explain to me, why is there such a ridiculous behavior? Suddenly, Lu Wangshu came directly to ask for punishment. The nature of this matter is very serious. As the head of the family, he must deal with it seriously. Who would have thought? As soon as the words came out, Tong Wudi waved his hands listlessly, and a bleak smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Old Lu, don't call me the undefeated Immortal Emperor in the future. Just call me the defeated Immortal Emperor. Hearing this, Lu Wangshu was stunned in place, with countless question marks on his forehead. What the hell? Window. _tabula equals window. _tabula. Push mode. Thumbs feed 01. Container. Tabula below article thumbnail. 300 times 250 feet. Placement. Below article thumbnail 300 times 250 feet. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 486. C487 The biggest victim. The vast domain of blue sky. In the Yellow Maple Valley, all the monks witnessed the end of the final battle and felt that they could not calm down for a long time, and their moods were very agitated. When they first saw Yi Junlin hanging up in Quanshui, they were very puzzled and wondered why they had to lose this great advantage. Seeing Tong Wudi leading his men to the high ground and about to explode the energy crystal, their hearts were in their throats and they were extremely anxious. Until the critical moment, Yi Junlin appeared as a full-level boss, killing 5 Tong Wudi instantly with one sword, and completely annihilating the opposing team. Everyone was deeply shocked. In the end, Yi Junlin won with a push, completely igniting the atmosphere of the audience. The words, "Invincible brother," or "awesome" are once again on the lips of countless people. It is true that Tong Wudi's undefeated emperor is also very famous, but after being defeated by Yi Junlin with a sword, his previous glory has become a mirror, destined to be overshadowed and become a foil. The reality is so cruel. Tell me, who is Brother Invincible? I'm also very curious, but as long as he doesn't take the initiative to reveal it, no one will know his true identity. Brother Invincible is not only powerful, but his aesthetic is also so unique, especially that unique look. He is so handsome, I love him. Yes, I thought it was ugly at first, but then it became more and more eye-catching. I have a hunch that this look will become popular in the northern Han Immortaland and be popular among thousands of girls. No, not just girls, but all women. Fellow Taoist is right. Countless monks were discussing at random until the exit of the secret realm opened and a large wave of trialists were teleported out. In an instant, the whole place became more excited, and shouts broke out. Brother Invincible, where are you? Accept me as your younger brother. Brother Invincible is awesome. Brother Invincible is awesome. Many ardent fans, impressed by the magic operation, shouted hysterically, trying to attract the attention of their idol. Who is Invincible Brother? What are they shouting? Some trialists who had never fought against Yi Junlin felt very puzzled when they heard this weird title. Only those who have experienced painful lessons will immediately remember who it is. HMPH, who dares to claim to be invincible in front of me, Senior Yi? Who is that so-called invincible brother? He has the guts to come out for a duel. Lord Kanglang rolled up his sleeves and said dissatisfied. Tang Yaoyao looked strange, tugged at the corner of Lord Kanglang's clothes, and whispered, "Fellow Taoist Kanglang, calm down, they seem to be calling Senior Yi. Kanglang Jun, damn it, it's true." Embarrassed. "Fellow Taoist Yi, should I call you Emperor Yi Tian from now on, or Brother Invincible?" Luo Qingwu teased. Yi Junlin was a little helpless. It turns out that what he did in the Supreme Canyon can also be seen by the monks outside. This is similar to professional esports competitions in previous generations, where a large group of spectators could watch the performance of players in real time on the screen. At this moment, the shouts about Brother Invincible kept ringing in the ears. Countless men and women looked fanatical and their eyes were filled with anticipation, wanting to see the true face of that man with their own eyes. "Let's go." Yi Junlin didn't want to be exposed and asked everyone to leave quickly. He is not afraid of being the target of public criticism, purely because he does not want more people to know that he has a strange and dazzling image in the Supreme Canyon. After all, he has already shocked the Northern Han immortal realm and is the famous Yi Tiandi. How can he be associated with such a weird appearance? Yi Junlin had to admit that he had a bit of idle baggage on him. That's all. The group left Yellow Maple Valley amid shouts. During this period, what happened in the Supreme Secret Realm quickly spread to the outside world. You must know that the monks who went to the Supreme Secret Realm at that time, in addition to the Qingtian territory, also had outsiders from many great territories. Therefore, after the trial was over, they returned to their respective hometowns one after another, and recorded what they saw, heard, and recorded, and bring it. The name Invincible Brother was like a storm sweeping across the northern cold immortal realm. Countless people had heard about it and were amazed by it. Just because Yi Junlin is by far the best performer in the canyon, he can kill the enemy with one sword or one move, which is unique in previous Secret Realm trials. Of course, in addition to this incident, there is also an explosive news spread within the Qingtian territory. That was before the opening of the Supreme Secret Realm. People from Shuzhenguan went to find Luo Qingwu to cause trouble. As a result, they were humiliated by Luo Qingwu, and even the dark history of Daozi Lu Tianming was exposed. Have you heard? Luo Wuxiao declared personally that Lu Tianming's lower part is actually shorter than his little finger. Damn it, that's the dignified Lu Daozi of Shuzhenguan. I didn't expect it to be short and small. It's really a disgrace to our male compatriots. It turns out that the reason why Lu Tianming failed to attack the immortal realm was because he was suppressed by Luo Wuxiao, stripped naked, hung from a tree and beaten, which caused psychological shadow. Hee, you are all wrong. I have the most truthful statement here. In fact, it was Lu Tianming who pursued Luo Wuxiao unsuccessfully. He was so angry that he wanted to show his prowess, but was crushed by Luo Wuxiao with his backhand. This is how his heart was broken. What? This is the truth. Oh my god, doesn't that mean Lu Daozi has no birds? It's so miserable. All kinds of rumors were flying all over the sky, and countless monks were passing on the gossip, which eventually became more and more outrageous. The monks of Shuzhenguan were so ashamed that they could not even lift their heads. After all, people's words can be feared. Their own Taozi's dark history was uncovered and he became the laughingstock of the entire Qingtian territory. How could they still have the face to hang around outside? Concept of virtual reality. Covering an area equivalent to several planets combined, it is the undisputed top force in the blue sky region, with a very strong and profound foundation. In an antique attic, behind the screen painted with landscapes, there was a vague figure sitting cross-legged. The aura on his body was very strange, with a hint of evil that was difficult to detect. Brother Tianming, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. It was me who messed up the matter. I wanted to go to Luo Wuxiao to ask for justice, but I didn't expect this scumbag to be so outspoken and spread rumors about Brother Tianming in public, which caused Brother Tianming to be degraded in the outside world. As a laughingstock. Wearing a pink skirt, the pretty woman with creamy skin lowered her head and wrapped her hands nervously, saying with a guilty look on her face. Bao Nishuang felt very guilty in her heart. After the public opinion fermented, she had no choice but to come and admit her mistake, hoping to be forgiven by Lu Tianming. Suddenly, a cold voice sounded. Thanks to you, those guys outside now say that I am a short-lived loser. My dignity as a man, Lu Tianming, has been completely destroyed. As he spoke, the screen exploded into powder, and a handsome young man wearing a black and white robe was seen. He had a sinister look on his face and stared at Bao Nishuang with cold eyes. Bao Nishuang was so frightened that her delicate body trembled, and she knelt down on the ground with pale face. Her pleading voice was slightly crying. Brother Tianming, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean it. As long as you can calm down your anger, you can do anything to me. Really? Window. Underscore tabula equals window. Underscore tabula underscore tabula. Push mode, thumbs feed 01, container, tabula below article thumbnail, 300 times 250 feet, placement, below article thumbnail minus 300 times 250 feet, target underscore type, mix. Chapter 487. C488 The Immortal Venerable Who Lives Off His Wife. Looking at this woman who was more trouble than success, Lu Tianming wanted to slap her to death. His image in the outside world was at least quite positive before, but now he has become the biggest joke in Qingtian domain. The familiar figure in white dress appeared in his mind, and the memory of death attacked him, reminding Lu Tianming of the painful experience of that day. Yes, just as Luo Qingwu said. Lu Tianming was indeed pursuing her. To put it simply, he wanted to sleep with her. At that time, Luo Qingwu was very annoyed by being entangled, so she took advantage of the situation and proposed to go into the woods with Lu Tianming. Just imagine, two famous strong men fighting in the wild, just thinking about it is very exciting. Lu Tianming couldn't resist the impulse, so he followed Luo Qingwu into the woods, but as soon as he took off his pants, he suffered a fatal blow. Lu Tianming, who was twitching with pain, was easily suppressed by Luo Qingwu, and then stripped naked and hung on a tree and whipped. The dignified Taoist of Shujun Temple suffered such a great humiliation, so the sect naturally strictly blocked the news to ensure that the news would not be leaked. After that day, Lu Tianming, who felt more and more humiliated, could no longer bear it and wanted to take revenge. He ignored the dissuasion of the sect's top leaders and insisted on breaking through the realm of Immortal Venerable. Who knew that in the process of breaking through the realm, he could not ensure his concentration, and he was too hasty, which led to the failure of breaking through the realm of Immortal Venerable. His own state was not as good as before, which could be said to be a loss of both the wife and the army. Since this matter could not be concealed, Shujun Temple simply put all the blame on Luo Qingwu. The benefit of doing so is that it can help Lu Tianming maintain a good image as much as possible. As a result, all of this was ruined. Now when people outside mention him, Lu Tianming, they will first think of two words. One is short, and the other is small. Some people even say that he has lost that thing. In this regard, Lu Tianming was so angry. However, although he was very dissatisfied with Bao Nishuang, he knew in his heart that the real source was Luo Qingwu. Luo Wuji, you are really shameless. You actually tricked me into going into the woods that day, causing me to be attacked by you. The worst thing is that you slandered me for being short. So vicious. Lu Tianming shook his sleeves heavily, his eyes were terribly gloomy. Ah, so this is true. Bao Nishuang raised her head suddenly, her face full of astonishment. Lu Tianming looked down at her from a high position and sneered. What does it matter whether it is true or not? Are you willing to be humiliated by Luo Wuji? Are you willing to be suppressed forever? Hearing this, thinking of the humiliation she had suffered before, Bao Nishuang gritted her teeth and said bitterly, of course I am unwilling. But what can I do? She is too powerful. She is the most recognized immortal emperor in Beihan immortal domain. People like me are like ants in front of her. I have to obey her even if I don't want to. She is also an immortal emperor level strongman, but in Luo Qingwu's eyes, she is just a fake who can be killed with one sword. What if I say that I have a way to defeat her? Lu Tianming said meaningfully. You. Bao Nishuang was stunned, with a strange look in her eyes. If you really have a way to defeat Luo Wuji, why would you end up like this before? What did you do earlier? Lu Tianming sneered. I know what you are thinking, and it is understandable. After all, I did lose miserably to her before. I can even tell you directly that even if she didn't sneak attack me, I would not be her opponent in a head-on battle. Hearing this, Bao Nishuang was even more confused. Since you are so self-aware, why did you say such stupid things just now? Lu Tianming put his hands behind his back, his eyes flashed with a strange light, and he sighed. Since I failed to break through the realm of Immortal Venerable, I was depressed and listless all day long, until I accidentally unlocked a mysterious jade slip that I had obtained. The wonderful inheritance contained in the jade slip allowed me to be reborn and see the hope of revenge. Speaking of this, Lu Tianming's tone was excited. It's just because the origin of that inheritance jade slip was from the Peach Blossom Immortal Venerable who had caused public outrage in the North Cold Immortal Domain tens of millions of years ago. Peach Blossom Immortal Venerable. Bao Nishuang was shocked and her beautiful eyes widened. She had indeed heard of the name of Peach Blossom Immortal Venerable before, mainly because the other party's reputation was too bad, and everyone in the world wanted to beat him. This Peach Blossom Immortal Venerable was very popular in the North Cold Immortal domain back then. His rise was inseparable from women. It can be said that he got to where he was completely by eating gigolos. There is no record of his real name in history books, but the 4 characters of Taohua Shanzun are the most famous and the worst among all the Shanzun in Beihan Shanyu. It is said that he is gifted and created a unique evil skill called Yin-Yang Siphon. As a man, he has greatly increased his charm to all women, and can make countless women crazy for him and willing to do anything for him. From then on, he used countless women to pave the way for him, providing various cultivation resources and a large number of immortal crystals to help him advance by leaps and bounds. Before he became an immortal, he was always surrounded by women, and he had countless established Taoist partners, which made countless male compatriots envious. If he was just a simple gigolo, his reputation would not be so bad. The problem is that the evil skill he created can not only attract women to pay for him, but also extract essence from women to strengthen himself. In layman's terms, it is to take yin to replenish yang. But his yin-yang siphoning skill is more advanced, and will cause greater damage to the target's body. In this way, he not only ate gigolos, but also killed people. He was a typical glutton, killing many innocent fairies. Moreover, Taohua Shanzun was particularly mean and insidious. He liked to use his special abilities to seduce the partners of other male compatriots. During this period, he cuckolded tens of millions of men, which can be said to be morally corrupt. His actions quickly aroused public anger and were jointly denounced by a large number of cultivators from both the righteous and evil paths. However, Taohua Shanzun, with the help of women's cover, was able to escape the killing disaster without any danger all the way. In the end, he developed for a period of time and successfully broke through the realm of Shanzun. Because of his peach blossom luck, he was named Taohua Shanzun. After becoming Shanzun, the group of cultivators who jointly attacked had to suppress their anger and disbanded on the spot, and did not dare to find trouble with him. The reason is very simple. At that time, only Shanzun could compete with Shanzun, and the number of Shanzun was extremely rare, so Taohua Shanzun's opponents were only those of the same level. As for those below the level of Immortal Venerable, no matter how many of them go, they will die, so disbanding is the wisest choice. Seeing that no one provokes him, Taohua Immortal Venerable is completely arrogant, and he becomes more and more aggressive in harming women and plundering other male Taoist companions. For a time, Beihan Immortal Domain is full of complaints. Now even some Immortal Venerables can't stand it anymore, and they plan to communicate with each other and eradicate this scourge. Taohua Immortal Venerable sensed the crisis and hurriedly sought a way to deal with it. As a result, he had an idea and turned his attention to the Li family in the creation domain. The Li family has an ancestor named Li Ruotong, who is recognized as the strongest immortal in Beihan Immortal Domain and is also a woman. At this time, Taohua Immortal Venerable, who was whimsical, actually thought of using his proud special ability to control the female ancestor of the Li family, so that he would have the strongest helper and could rest assured and do whatever he wanted in Beihan Immortal Domain from then on. Who would have thought that after Taohua Shanzun went to the Li family, the noise he made was so loud that it disturbed the Li family ancestor who was still in seclusion. Before Taohua Shanzun could perform his skills, he was wiped out by the Li family ancestor with a finger, and his body and soul were destroyed. At this point, Taohua Shanzun fell, and the cultivators of Beihan Shanyu applauded. His name was also nailed to the pillar of shame forever, and he was despised by future generations. However, now, the inheritance jade slip that Lu Tianming got turned out to be related to Taohua Shanzun back then, which also meant that he could master the legendary evil Yin-Yang Siphon. Enslaved countless women for his use, including Luo Qingwu. Thinking of this, Bao Nishuang, who was shocked, subconsciously looked at Lu Tianming and found that the other party looked at her with a deep meaning. In an instant, she felt cold all over. Chapter 488. C489 The truth is revealed. Brother Tianming, back then everyone wanted to beat Peach Blossom Immortal, but as a Taoist disciple of Shu Zhenguan, you inherited his lineage. If the incident happened in public, the consequences would be disastrous. Bao Nishuang said bravely. Lu Tianming sneered, I won't bother you with this. I have my own sense of discretion. The main reason is that I failed to reach the realm before and my condition declined sharply. However, Peach Blossom Immortal Lord's unique technique can strengthen himself by absorbing women's essence. As long as I can return to my peak, it will be easy to deal with Luo Qingwu. So, during this period of time, I need you to help me practice. After all, your cultivation is at the level of the immortal emperor, and you are one of the best female cultivators in the world of virtual truth. Hearing this, Bao Nishhuang's heart trembled. Naturally, she didn't want to be used as a furnace, because such female cultivators often ended badly. She admired Lu Tianming very much, but it didn't mean that she would give unconditionally. Now that she saw Lu Tianming's true face, a strong feeling of resistance emerged in her heart. I'm sorry, I need to go back and think about this for a few days, and then I'll give you an answer. Bao Nishhuang put down these words and left in a hurry. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that she was refusing. Haha, are you sure? Seeing that the woman in pink skirt was unwilling to cooperate, a strange glint flashed in Lu Tianming's eyes. The woman's heart suddenly beat rapidly, and some strange feeling emerged in her heart. Her face was like a peach blossom. She turned to look at Lu Tianming, her beautiful eyes were full of deep love, and she said softly. Brother Tianming, I was joking with you just now. I am willing to do anything for you. Lu Tianming was also surprised. This was the first time he had used Qigong, and he didn't expect the results to be so significant. It is enough to show how comfortable the peach blossom immortal was back then. No wonder he was regarded as a public enemy by countless male monks. Who wouldn't envy someone with this kind of ability? During this period, I want to vent my anger on you. Do you have any objections? Lu Tianming further tested the bottom line and asked. Absolutely not. Bao Nishhuang's cheeks were rosy, and she knelt at the man's feet willingly, saying sweetly. At this time, she had lost her mind and became the world's top love brain. She only wanted to devote herself to Lu Tianming. This is the terrifying thing about yin-yang siphon technique. Very good. Seeing the obedient Bao Nishhuang, Lu Tianming's smile became more and more abnormal. He had already begun to imagine what would happen if this trick was used on Luo Qingwu. When he thought that the woman in the white dress with a strong posture would be manipulated and played with at his will, Lu Tianming felt excited and looking forward to it. Suddenly, his eyes turned to Bao Nishhuang who was kneeling on the ground, and a playful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. You, bring your head closer. After Bao Nishhuang obediently obeyed, her head was pressed down by a big hand. Some time passed. Moyan City, a large and luxurious inn. In the highest standard wing room, Yi Junlin, who had gotten up early, stretched himself and said subconsciously. Xiaoxi, my teacher wants to have breakfast. The wing was empty, no one responded. After reacting, Yi Junlin slapped his forehead and said with a wry smile, I forgot again, Xiaoxi is not around. The second apprentice, Bai Xiaoxi, was responsible for his daily diet. When she was there, she would try different ways to make delicious food every day. She would prepare various snacks for him early in the morning. In short, she was extremely good at food and had already mastered it. Yi Junlin's appetite is very good. Therefore, during Bai Xiaoxi's absence, Yi Junlin would inevitably feel a little uncomfortable and would always subconsciously call out his apprentice's name. Hey, it's really unlucky that they separated when they ascended to the immortal world. I hope they can live well elsewhere. After all, the immortal world is vast and boundless, and finding people is like looking for a needle in a haystack. But fortunately, Hong Chenny and the others were able to match the immortal emperor level combat power before they ascended. Even in a place like the immortal world, it stands to reason that they can survive. Well done. Yi Junlin is still very confident about this. As for the dangerous encounter the big mushroom king had before, it was a special situation. Who told him that his body was the best elixir? There was a soft knock on the door. Luo Qingwu's voice came from outside, fellow Taoist Yi, can I come in? Yi Junlin could hear that there was a hint of anxiety in this voice, and it seemed that the decision was made after careful consideration. Come in. The door opened. A beautiful woman wearing a white dress, with a bulging figure and extremely proud curves, walked in with a graceful step. Her voluptuous and slender thighs were covered with white stockings as thin as cicadas, which was very tempting. She held an exquisite plate in her hand, with 2 wine glasses and a wine flask placed on it. What are you doing so early in the morning? Yi Junlin raised his eyebrows. Dry. Luo Qingwu's footsteps paused, her eyes showing surprise, and then she realized that she had thought wrongly, and quickly covered up her embarrassment with a smile. It's nothing, I just want to have a drink with you. These are all my treasured goods. A strange look flashed in Yi Junlin's eyes, you come to me for a drink so early in the morning. He felt that Luo Qingwu's behavior was too abnormal, because this female gangster had always been a heavy drinker. She would drink the good wine herself and was never willing to share it with others. Why did she find him today? When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Showing courtesy for nothing is either cheating or stealing. Drinking doesn't matter the time, and if I drink this wine, it can also have aphrodisiac effects. Luo Qingwu chuckled. Yi Junlin, who do you look down on? Do I need it? Oh, I'm just kidding. This wine is called Immortal Brew. It was made by an immortal who likes to brew wine. He has a very strange personality. He doesn't use the title of immortal to flaunt himself, but simply calls himself a wine brewing immortal. He is passionate about brewing wine and making friends with wine. Luo Qingwu put the plate on the table, sat down on the chair, and began to talk about the origin of the wine brewing immortal. The wine he brewed himself is often hard to find. Even some powerful people who are also immortals, he doesn't give him face when he asks for it. Later, everyone knew that the wine brewing immortal gave all his wine himself. As long as he likes you and talks to you, you can get it. Come, no matter who you are, he is willing to give you a free taste. On the contrary, even if you offer a high price, he will be dismissive. Quote. Oh, such a strong personality. Yi Junlin became interested and sat on the chair. Then you can get his wine, doesn't it mean you can chat with him very well? Luo Qingwu said with a strange look. When he was alive, I was not born yet. As for this wine, I broke the limit of the immortal wheel later. In order to reward my achievements, the ancestor of the sect specially gave it to me. That's right, this wine was given to Luo Qingwu by the ancestor of Changshan. At that time, Luo Qingwu took a sip and was reluctant to continue drinking, so she kept it until now. Yi Junlin was stunned. He is dead. Could it be that he failed to pass the emperor's tribulation? No, he was killed by the outer demon. Luo Qingwu's eyes turned cold and said in a deep voice. Window. _tabula equals window. _tabula. Push mode. Thumbs feed 01. Container. Tabula below article feed. Placement. Below article feed. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 489. C490 Luo Wuji. You are really too shameless. Extraterrestrial demon. Yi Junlin frowned. Due to his previous experience in the Kunlun realm, as well as the fact that he inherited the immortal island and learned many secrets through Lu Wangshu's spiritual thoughts, he had a clear understanding of the alien races outside the region. As for the extraterrestrial demons that Luo Qingwu talked about, most likely they were alien coalition forces from outside the territory, and most of them came from the Juyu camp. Knowing the special identity of the young man in front of her, Luo Qingwu explained. They are alien races from outside the immortal world, so they are collectively called extraterrestrial demons by people in the immortal world. You mean, the brewing immortal left the immortal world and died fighting against the demon outside the realm? Yi Junlin asked doubtfully. After all, with Lu Wangshu, the supreme formation master, sitting in the immortal realm, it stands to reason that even the immortal emperor-level powerhouses would find it difficult to invade the immortal realm. Unless they take the initiative to go to the starry sky battlefield and fight head-on with aliens from outside the territory, there is a risk of falling. Luo Qingwu shook her head. No, the extraterrestrial demons ran out of the demon cave in the immortal world. The brewing immortal was the first to discover the demon cave in the northern cold immortal realm. When he saw the extraterrestrial demons trying to invade the northern cold immortal territory from the demon cave, he hurriedly went to stop them. Later, he found that the number on the other side was increasing. At the critical moment, the brewing immortal chose to self-destruct, which not only eliminated a large number of extraterrestrial demons, but it also made many forces in the northern cold immortal territory aware of this strange phenomenon, and then they united to suppress the demon cave. Quote. Finally, after the immortal court made an investigation, they were shocked to find that apart from the Middle-earth immortal realm, the other four major immortal realms had the birth of Demon Cave, and the Demon Cave could be used as a springboard for demons from outside the realm to smoothly transition to the immortal realm without being suppressed by the rules of the immortal realm. Quote. Later, Lu Taishang, who was known as the #1 formation in the immortal world and was also the leader of the immortal court, used a lot of manpower and material resources to successfully seal the 4 demon caves. Until now, the demon cave is still in a sealed state, but the immortal court has not given any explanation for the appearance of the demon cave. This has led to different opinions among the monks in the immortal world, and they are all speculating on the origin of the demon cave. Luo Qingwu revealed this inside story. Hearing this, Yi Junlin's eyes flashed with surprise. Unexpectedly, there are experts from the alien races outside the territory who can forcibly open 4 space passages in the immortal world to block the perception of heaven in the immortal world. What an incredible feat is this! Yi Junlin dared to conclude that it was absolutely impossible to do it with the strength of the immortal emperor. In other words, the 4 major demon caves were specially created by the strong men in the Holy Realm. According to the information revealed by Satu Yan before, the reason why the Saint Realm Powerhouse did not join the battlefield in person was mainly because of the Saint Agreement. However, the appearance of the 4 major demon caves allowed Yi Junlin to infer that there might be some strong men in the Holy Realm who could not stand it anymore and intervened in this game. The purpose is very simple, just to let the immortal world be captured as soon as possible. Who would have imagined that after years of keeping a low profile, the immortal realm has a very deep foundation. It not only blocked the alien armies in the demon cave, but also quickly sealed the 4 major demon caves. This made the mastermind's plan come to nothing. Although the brewing immortal is dead, his name still remains in the history of the northern cold immortal territory and will be remembered by countless descendants. He is a senior that I, Luo Qingwu, respect very much. It's a pity that I don't have the chance. Saw him. Luo Qingwu looked regretful, picked up the wine flask and poured a glass of wine respectively. The rich and charming aroma of wine continued to fill the air and quickly occupied the entire room. Yi Junlin's nose twitched slightly, thinking that the aroma of this wine was really strong. Fellow Taoist Yi, please. Luo Qingwu picked up the wine glass with a smile. You are willing to give me such a precious wine to drink. Fellow Taoist Luo, you are so generous. Yi Junlin teased. He didn't hesitate, picked up the wine glass and took a sip. The taste instantly spread between his lips and teeth. It was soft and sweet at first, then a little sour, and gradually turned into spicy, which is endless aftertaste. Swallowing it down the throat and into the abdomen, it feels like burning, and then turns into coolness, making the whole body feel extremely comfortable. Good wine, Yi Junlin praised. If it tastes good, drink more. I'll take care of that. Luo Qingwu said with a flash of pain in her eyes, forcing a smile. That's what you said. Yi Junlin smiled. After finishing the glass, he picked up the wine bottle and refilled it, one glass after another. Luo Qingwu watched eagerly. Although she also drank the immortal master brew, Yi Junlin mainly drank it. Good wine. The wine was so powerful that even Yi Junlin was soon drunk, and a hint of drunkenness appeared on his handsome face. Luo Qingwu seized the opportunity, leaned over and said, Fellow Taoist Yi, is this wine delicious? Okay, it tastes good. Yi Junlin said drowsily. You have seen my sincerity, so I just want to make a small request. Isn't that too much? Luo Qingwu said tentatively. No, it's not too much, burp. Yi Junlin waved his hand and burped. Seeing Yi Junlin's drunken appearance, Luo Qingwu felt like her plan had succeeded. The reason why she was willing to spend the money was because she wanted to plot the 10 immortal Lord Dao fruits in Yi Junlin's hands. You know, for a powerful immortal emperor like Luo Qingwu, the temptation of immortal Lord Dao fruit is really too great. With her qualifications, she will be able to break through to the immortal lord sooner or later, but the effect of the immortal lord's Dao fruit will not only allow her to break through the realm faster, but also condense more of the immortal lord's laws, which can be said to have endless benefits. During this period, Luo Qingwu was actually having a hard time. She couldn't stop wanting the immortal Lord Dao fruit obtained by Yi Junlin, but due to the relationship, she didn't dare to say it openly. After much thought, she finally decided to go all out and give it a try. So, she wanted to use the immortal brew as a breakthrough point to let Yi Junlin take out the immortal Dao fruit on his own initiative. At this moment, seeing that the time was ripe, Luo Qingwu pretended to be calm and said, In this case, then I will boldly ask, I want the 10 immortal Dao fruits in your hand, do you think it's okay? She felt that Yi Junlin was already drunk and confused, and he would nod in agreement in 9 out of 10 cases. After all, this immortal brew would make even the immortal master drunk. Result. As soon as these words came out, Yi Junlin's eyes became sharp, and the power in his body was running to dissipate the alcohol instantly. In Luo Qingwu's stunned eyes, Yi Junlin slowly raised a finger, waved it left and right, and smiled playfully. No. Seeing this, Luo Qingwu realized that Yi Junlin had been pretending before, and in fact he had been on guard against her for a long time. Asshole, you lied to me. Luo Qingwu stood up suddenly, stretched out her finger in anger, and clenched her teeth. Yi Junlin looked innocent. Don't accuse me, where did I lie to you? Isn't this answering your question? Then you still say no. Luo Qingwu said. Yes, no means no. Hearing this answer, Luo Qingwu gritted her teeth in anger. She quickly picked up the wine pot and found that there was not much wine left. Thinking that the treasured wine was almost drunk, she, who loved alcohol, felt extremely distressed and had difficulty breathing. Then you still drink my wine? Luo Qingwu said angrily. Didn't you take it out to treat me? You want to blame me for this? Yi Junlin thought it was a little funny. You drank my most precious wine and rejected my conditions. You. Knowing that she was losing blood, Luo Qingwu pointed at Yi Junlin with trembling fingers, and her full chest was violently ups and downs, as if she had never seen such a shameless person in her life. You are really too shameless. Chapter 490. C491 Tang Yao Yao, that is the voice of Master. This scene is obviously very funny. Who would have thought that Luo Wuxiao, who was notorious in the northern Han immortal territory, was angrily pointing at a man and scolding him for being shameless. It's so funny. Yi Junlin almost suspected that he heard wrongly and pointed at himself. You said I was shameless. Good guy, how do you have the right to speak against me? Am I as shameless as you? Yes, you are shameless. Your wife is so shameless. Luo Qingwu was so angry that she stamped her feet and said angrily. There was nothing she could do, she had really broken through. The most precious wine was almost drunk, and he didn't even get the immortal Lord Dao fruit. It was true that he lost his wife and lost his troops. Blood loss. Luo Qingwu, who always likes to take advantage and is unwilling to suffer any losses, stumbled over this matter, which made her feel very uncomfortable and her heart was bleeding. Ahem. Yi Junlin pretended to cough a few times and said seriously, we'd better sort things out first. Did you bring the wine over so early in the morning that you insisted on buying me a drink? Right, Luo Qingwu nodded. Then before drinking, did you make any request? No. In this case, my drinking your wine does not constitute intentional fraud. You yourself insisted on inviting me to drink, so whether I agree or not has no direct relationship with drinking your wine, right? Yes. No. After Luo Qingwu subconsciously admitted it, she immediately reacted and waved her hands quickly, her face flushed with anxiety. Yi Junlin spread his hands. Anyway, I didn't mean to lie to you. Even if you tell this matter, everyone will only stand by me, because justice is in the heart of the people. After saying this, Luo Qingwu was speechless. But the more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She stared at Yi Junlin with her beautiful eyes and said in a very low tone. Are you sure you want to do this? Don't you want to think about the consequences? Hearing this, Yi Junlin smiled. Haha, what do you want to do? With his strength, he could easily suppress this woman with one hand, and he was not afraid of offending the eternal immortal sect. Therefore, Luo Qingwu's threat was completely self-destructive in Yi Junlin's opinion. Humph, you forced me to do this. Luo Qingwu gritted her teeth and risked her life. Then, under Yi Junlin's disbelieving gaze, Luo Qingwu undressed and took off her white skirt. Her skin is as white as milk, her breasts are slender, her waist is slender, and her flat belly is smooth. Every inch is just perfect, as if it is a masterpiece from God. In an instant, the temperature in the room suddenly rose, making people's mouth go dry. Yi Junlin was stunned. No, are you serious? Perhaps it was the first time he was so bold. Even the shameless Luo Qingwu felt unnatural. A blush appeared on her beautiful face, and her beautiful eyes showed shyness. Does it look good? Luo Qingwu pursed her red lips and asked with shame. Yi Junlin nodded subconsciously. His eyes were hard to move away from the other person's body, as if they were attached to him. From a purely appreciation point of view, even Yi Junlin had to admit that this body was simply a beautiful work of art. Luo Qingwu suppressed the shame in her heart and walked up to the young man. Then she stretched out her white arms and hooked them around the young man's neck. Her devilish figure was very close and her beautiful eyes were staring, exhaling like a orchid. Even though Yi Junlin had seen big scenes, he couldn't help but feel his heart fluttering, and his stomach felt like a ball of evil fire rising up. Fellow Taoist Yi, you must think that I am a very casual woman, right? Luo Qingwu asked seriously. Okay, Yi Junlin said. The main reason was that he had traveled to the kingdom of heavenly maidens before, and the women there subverted his understanding. Even the current king was dissatisfied with his desires and wanted to share him with his daughter. Therefore, Yi Junlin, who has seen the big world, thinks from the bottom of his heart that Luo Qingwu is already a very conservative woman. But to Luo Qingwu's ears, Yi Junlin only said this out of concern for her face. I can swear to Da Dao that I, Luo Qingwu, have never been like this before. Today is the first time I have done this to a man. After saying that, she made up her mind and kissed Yi Junlin. Well, Yi Junlin's eyes widened, and a wonderful feeling emerged from his heart. Fragrant and soft, this is his true feeling. It was also Luo Qingwu's first time to kiss a man. The moment the kiss started, her delicate body couldn't help but begin to feel soft and numb. A man and a woman were breathing very rapidly, and the air was filled with the smell of hormones. Soon, Yi Junlin was accidentally pushed to the bed. Luo Qingwu clung to him like an octopus, her eyes were as charming as silk, and she kissed him deeply with her face flushed. Suddenly, Yi Junlin noticed that his clothes were being pulled open, and a pair of soft jade hands were gently caressing his chest, which further aroused the evil fire in his belly. Wait, are you sure you want to do this? Even if you really make this sacrifice, it is impossible to give you the 10 immortal Lord Dao fruits. Just when desire was about to go to his head, Yi Junlin gritted his teeth, suddenly grabbed the hand of the woman in front of him, and said in a deep voice. He admitted that he was indeed on top just now, something he had never done before even in the Heavenly Lady Kingdom. This point made Yi Junlin secretly surprised. He couldn't help but wonder if he really had feelings for this female gangster, otherwise how could he be so cooperative with her? However, there was only one last step left. He didn't want to continue this absurd development, which was why he called a halt in time. Luo Qingwu was stunned. Seeing the serious-looking man in front of her, she was so angry that she couldn't help but feel angry. Damn, you didn't tell me earlier. Really? Yi Junlin exhaled heavily, pushing away this perfect ketone body and forcing himself to calm down. As a result, just as he was about to get up, Luo Qingwu was unhappy. What are you doing? This is already the case, should we continue? Yi Junlin said in surprise. Why not? Luo Qingwu raised her eyebrows. But, you grown man, you're so hesitant even though I'm willing to do it. Come on, don't let me look down on you. Luo Qingwu said angrily. Suddenly, she seemed to think of something, a playful smile appeared on her lips, she leaned over Yi Junlin's ear and whispered. Can't you? Yi Junlin's body trembled, and his eyes changed. Okay, this is how you play, right? As the saying goes, if the arrow is on the string, it must be fired. In order to defend his dignity as a man, Yi Junlin realized that he could no longer shirk it. What's more, his kidneys didn't send any warning signals. This was completely different from his previous reaction to the head of the Heavenly Lady Kingdom. This just shows that Luo Qingwu has little experience. On the surface, he seems to be a bold and experienced driver, but in fact, he is the king of oral pleasure, and his real level is 0. If I am afraid, I really can't explain it. You forced me to do this. At this moment, Yi Junlin no longer wanted to control the desire in his body and released it completely. He turned over and pressed on the opponent like a wild beast. In an instant, a violent attack came. Pa 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 pa. The applause was enthusiastic. In the backyard of the inn, Tang Yaoyao clapped excitedly and said, Wow, the little gangster is very friendly. I saw the pot-headed boy making secrets with his hands, and a green light surrounded the yard. The withered immortal trees around him were rejuvenated, and bright flowers bloomed on the branches. The little black Taoist friend has superb medical skills. Maybe one day in the future, he can bring people back to life. Lord Kanglang sat on the stone bench, stroking his beard and admiringly. Hearing this, the big mushroom king was so frightened that he quickly waved his hand. Your Majesty, you really think too highly of me. I can't even think of what you said. It is worth mentioning. The three of them received roulette rewards and achieved breakthroughs in their cultivation. Tang Yaoyao took advantage of the situation to be promoted to the top level of Immortal King, while Big Mushroom King and Kanglang Jun both broke through to the realm of Immortal King. During this time, they were all in a good mood. Hey, why didn't Master come? Tang Yaoyao frowned, confused that Luo Qingwu didn't show up in time. Because usually at this time, Luo Qingwu would come down to drink and talk all kinds of nonsense. However, this time it was uncharacteristically absent. Maybe I'm looking for Senior Yi. Kanglang Jun said casually. It's also possible, let me take a look. Tang Yaoyao left the courtyard and headed upstairs with brisk steps. Since every room in this inn was equipped with formations to isolate the Immortal King level consciousness, Tang Yaoyao did not use his consciousness to check. Of course, if you use your spiritual consciousness to search rashly, it will easily arouse the dissatisfaction of other strong men in the inn. Basically no one is willing to get into trouble like this. Tang Yaoyao first ran to Luo Qingwu's wing. After knocking for a long time and finding that no one was there, she ran to Yi Junlin's residence. At this moment, she felt that her master was most likely going to find Senior Yi. Why did Master go to Senior Yi so early in the morning? Could it be that she wanted to ask for advice on Taoism? If that's the case, I can just be a spectator. Tang Yaoyao said expectantly. Soon, she came to the wing where Yi Junlin lived. Just as she was about to knock on the door and speak, she suddenly heard a familiar voice coming from inside. The cry is very free and can make people blush and make their hearts beat faster. You can immediately think of something. Tang Yaoyao listened attentively at first, then her pupils trembled, her pretty face was full of disbelief, and her little cherry mouth opened into an O shape. His body was as motionless as a clay sculpture, and every minute and second felt very long. Then, that seems to be Master's voice. Warm reminder. If you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error, or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 491. C492 The sun is high in the sky. As she had been with Luo Qingwu day and night, she was naturally very familiar with this cry. What shocked Tang Yaoyao the most was that her master was in Senior Yi's room, which clearly meant that something must have happened between the two. It sounded like the battle was very intense. Tang Yaoyao, who accidentally saw this incident, regretted coming to find out. If she hadn't come, she would never know. To be honest, Tang Yaoyao must have admired Yi Junlin. After all, Yi Junlin's image and strength made her feel unprecedented, and he was the most perfect object in her mind. But she knew that she was definitely not worthy of him, so she buried this feeling in her heart, thinking that as long as she could accompany Yi Junlin, she would be satisfied. Unexpectedly, fate is so teasing, her sweetheart was actually intercepted by her master, which caused a huge shock to her heart. Tang Yaoyao, standing outside the door, listened to the shouting inside, her face was red and bleeding, and she felt very uncomfortable. She wanted to eavesdrop for a while longer, but she was afraid that she could not control herself, so she simply gritted her teeth and turned away. Tang Yaoyao returned to the yard, and when she thought of the voice she heard outside the door just now, she could not help but think of an exciting picture in her mind, which made her heart beat wildly and her face red like an apple. Immortal Tang, what's wrong with you? Kanglang Jun found something strange and asked in surprise. The Great Mushroom King came over and said with concern, "Are you uncomfortable somewhere? I can help you take a look. Don't bother me." Realizing her own loss of composure, Tang Yaoyao turned around and ran away in shame, as if to cover up her unspeakable side. The Great Mushroom King and Kanglang Jun looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. The sun was high in the sky. In the room, Yi Junlin and Luo Qingwu finally ended their fight. Luo Qingwu lay on the bed limply, her beautiful face still flushed, her eyes a little blurred, thinking of the previous battle, even she felt it was too crazy. How could things turn out like this? Before this, she just wanted to get him drunk and take the opportunity to ask for 10 immortal fruits. How could she get herself involved inexplicably? Yi Junlin, who was lying next to him, also felt like he was dreaming. Since he traveled through time, he has always been calm. Although he had countless romantic encounters during this period, he always felt that something was missing, so he didn't indulge himself. But now, he was so excited that he had sex with this female gangster. This made Yi Junlin not know what to say, and a strange feeling emerged in his heart. To be honest, he did feel different from others for a strange woman like Luo Qingwu, and he had an appreciative attitude. What's more, Luo Qingwu's appearance and figure are both great, and it's not a loss to be able to have in-depth exchanges with such a woman. After all, he can't stubbornly keep his virginity in the future when the finale comes, right? It's time to release it. As the thought turned, Yi Junlin was about to get up and dress. Suddenly, she saw a striking red stain on the bed sheet from the corner of her eyes. She was struck by thunder and looked in disbelief. You are bleeding. Huh. Luo Qingwu turned her head to look at the blood stain on the bed sheet, which was like a blooming flower. Her pretty face immediately turned red and she said in shame and anger. Mr. Yi, what do you mean? You want to embarrass me, right? Ahem. Yi Junlin pretended to cough dryly and explained awkwardly. Don't get me wrong, I'm just surprised that this is your first time. After all, the woman in front of her was bold and frivolous, and she said all kinds of lewd words. She didn't look like a virgin at all. I didn't expect that she would be a virgin. That's because I have high standards. Not everyone can be favored by me. To be honest, you should feel honored to be favored by me, Luo Qingwu. Luo Qingwu lifted her hair and said as a matter of course. When she said this, even she believed it. Yi Junlin was also impressed by the other party's thick skin. It was you who insisted on offering yourself, right? At this time, seeing the striking red on the bed sheet, he couldn't help but fall into silence, and his eyes changed continuously. Seeing this scene, Luo Qingwu seemed to guess something, and said contemptuously, "You don't think that you want to be responsible for me just because you took my first time. If you have this idea, then I can only say that it is unnecessary." Oh, Yi Junlin raised his eyebrows, "Are you sure?" Of course, Luo Qingwu hugged her arms, and her chest was squeezed and deformed. I don't need any man to be responsible for me. When you slept with me, I also slept with you. I don't think I'm at a disadvantage. What's more, you served me very comfortably, and we owe each other nothing. Okay. Hearing this, Yi Junlin was a little ashamed. He underestimated the brain circuit of this woman and mistakenly applied the traditional concept to her. Little did he know that she had no intention of further improving this relationship. Instead, he was being too sentimental. Suddenly, Luo Qingwu stepped on her golden proportioned slender legs and came to Yi Junlin. She stroked his hard chest with her fingertips and said with a sweet breath, I know men like you too well. Even if you say you will take responsibility, if you meet a more beautiful immortal, you will think about taking her into your harem. Besides, I pursue the great way in my life and like to drink and have fun everywhere. So, I won't restrict you, and you don't restrict me. We can all take what we need and just have fun for a while. Yi Junlin stared at the beauty in front of him in a daze, and a thought flashed through his mind. From what he said, is she treating him as a sex partner? She really acted on impulse. Let's go, remember to keep it a secret. Luo Qingwu's body flashed with light, and a spotless white dress appeared, with fluttering ribbons and a transcendent temperament. Even if she didn't get what she wanted, she still turned around and left. Although having sex with Yi Junlin was something she didn't expect, she didn't regret it at all, but felt a sense of relief from the inside out. To be honest, Luo Qingwu felt that her first time was worth it to have a relationship with such a powerful man. Wait. Suddenly, Yi Junlin called her. Luo Qingwu's body trembled, her legs felt weak, she turned to look at the young man, and asked in surprise, You want more? She thought Yi Junlin's energy had recovered and wanted to drag her to fight for another 300 rounds. If so, she really couldn't hold on. Yi Junlin looked strange. Well, I want to give this to you. Swish, a immortal fruit surrounded by light emerged and flew in front of Luo Qingwu. What do you mean? Give it to me. Luo Qingwu frowned. She really needed the immortal fruit, but Yi Junlin took it out at this time, which made her feel a little uncomfortable. Yi Junlin said, Don't get me wrong, in fact, you asked me for one immortal Dao fruit at the beginning, I could still give it to you, but you asked for 10, which is why I rejected you. Although the immortal Dao fruit is of no use to him, it is useful to his disciples, so Luo Qingwu asked for 10 immortal Dao fruits, which Yi Junlin thought was impossible to accept. Now it was Luo Qingwu's turn to be stunned. She looked at Yi Junlin's sincere expression, and then looked at the immortal Dao fruit in her hand, her head buzzing. Thinking of the fine wine she had treasured for many years, Luo Qingwu, who always liked to take advantage, found it difficult to accept this fact. She was heartbroken and beat her chest and stamped her feet. Damn, why didn't you say it earlier? Blame me, you didn't ask. Yi Junlin shrugged. Luo Qingwu's chest was heaving with anger. She rushed to Yi Junlin unwillingly and said viciously, Give me another 4 immortal venerable Dao fruits, otherwise I will die with you. Fuck, Yi Junlin was shocked. He still underestimated the shamelessness of this woman. In terms of shamelessness, who can compare with you, Luo Qingwu? Give it to me or not. Hiss, I'll give it to you. Yi Junlin showed a toothache look. With a wave of his hand, 4 immortal venerable Dao fruits were added. Luo Qingwu smiled and accepted it with satisfaction. Now she has 5 immortal venerable Dao fruits, which can not only easily break through the immortal venerable, but also quickly condense more immortal venerable laws. This trip was not in vain. Hey, I say, you can let go now, right? Yi Junlin looked unhappy. Okay, I'll blow it for you, don't be angry. Yi Junlin shuddered and felt very comfortable, and the anger in his heart was gradually dissipating. After a long while, Luo Qingwu slowly stood up and said, Are you satisfied now? Yi Junlin showed a look of aftertaste on his face. After pondering for a moment, he nodded and said, Yeah. Hey, man, Luo Qingwu rolled her eyes. It was worth her effort to waste her words. I'm leaving. Luo Qingwu, who got what she wanted, turned around and left. The door was closed again. Thinking of the wonderful feeling just now, Yi Junlin couldn't help but sigh, this woman really understands men. After this, he really didn't have much temper. Luo Qingwu returned to the wing room in high spirits, and then deliberately arranged one formation after another to avoid being disturbed by the outside world. During this period, she will use the immortal venerable Dao fruit to break through the realm of immortal venerable. By then, the world will call her Luo Shanzun. A few days later, Shujun Temple, on a mountain peak where few people go. In the attic, Bao Nishuang, who was tortured to death, fell to the ground like a puddle of mud. Her face became thin and pale, her eye sockets sunken, and her skin loose and aged, no longer radiant and youthful. On the other hand, Lu Tianming's spirit was refreshed, and his state reached its peak again. Looking at the battered woman under his feet, a playful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. I have to say, you really live up to your name. I am very satisfied. Bao Nishuang, who looked like a withered man, squeezed out a smile on her haggard face. As long as it is Brother Tianming's request, I am willing to do it. Even now, she was controlled by Lu Tianming's yin-yang siphon technique, and was deeply trapped in it. This evil skill is extremely terrifying. $window. _tabula equals window. _tabula. Push mode, thumbs feed 01, container, tabula below article thumbnail, 300 times 250 feet, placement, below article thumbnail 300 times 250 feet, target _type, mix. Chapter 492. C493 The Two Heart-Eating Ghosts. Lu Tianming didn't feel the slightest bit sorry for this woman's tragic situation. In his opinion, if Bao Nishuang hadn't made her own decision, he wouldn't have been criticized as a short boy by the outside world. This stupid woman deserves this kind of punishment. Suddenly, the sound transmission ring in his arms buzzed. Lu Tianming took it out and took a look, and received the news from his subordinates. Lu Daozi, the spies we have placed in various places have a new situation today. Oh, could it be that you found that bitch Luo Qingwu? Lu Tianming's eyes flashed coldly. That's not true, but an informant saw her apprentice in Moyun City. A subordinate reported. Her apprentice? Lu Tianming raised his eyebrows. He knew that the master and apprentice had always been inseparable, and where there was a disciple, Luo Qingwu must be there. So, it's definitely a good idea to go to Moyun City. I know, keep staring. Yes, Lu Daozi, it has to be said that Xu Zhenguan, as the top force in the Qingtian domain, has cultivated informants all over the place and is very powerful in the field of intelligence. Lu Tianming was eager to take revenge on Luo Qingwu, so he secretly ordered his subordinates to search for traces of Luo Qingwu. Now, with a clear direction, Lu Tianming couldn't wait to rush there immediately. In terms of strength, he knew that he was not as good as Luo Qingwu, but this time he had the inherited skills of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord, and he was completely sure of defeating Luo Qingwu. Bitch, when I catch you, I will torture you so hard that you will feel like life is worse than death. The more Lu Tianming thought about it, the more excited he became, and a look of resentment flashed in his eyes. Immediately, he fled from the attic and headed for his destination with vengeful fury. In the room, the only thing left was the airy whisper, Brother Tianming, don't leave me. Moyun City, a girl wearing a green gauze skirt, with white and smooth skin and a pretty face, was walking down the street in a depressed mood. Until now, Tang Yaoyao still didn't want to go back to the inn and kept wandering around outside. When she thought of her accidentally breaking the relationship between her master and Senior Yi, her heart was in chaos. Especially when she stood outside the door that day and heard all kinds of imaginative sounds inside, Tang Yaoyao felt very ashamed. Master went too far. He secretly got together with Senior Yi without telling me. Have you ever considered my feelings as a disciple? If I had known, I wouldn't have gone upstairs to look for them. Tang Yaoyao was very regretful. At this time, she was walking and saw a man and woman walking together in front of them, talking and laughing. The two seemed to be in a relationship. The man was handsome and the woman was youthful and lively. The humorous man would make the woman smile from time to time. Seeing this beautiful scene, Tang Yaoyao felt much better. She even began to fantasize about how happy she would be if Senior Yi could treat her like this. However, when they passed through the alley next to them, a big dark purple hand suddenly stretched out, grabbed the man and woman, and then retracted them at an incredible speed. The sudden change made Tang Yaoyao on the opposite side freeze on the spot, and his brain seemed to have shut down. What's going on? Tang Yaoyao realized something was wrong, and quickly used the Sex Advanced Escape technique, restrained her aura and touched it. The temperature in the alley is very cold, making people's hair stand on end. I saw that the man and woman had already fallen into a pool of blood. The expressions on their faces were clear and frightened. Their eyes were wide open and full of pain. They could not rest in peace. Two strange cloaked figures stood nearby, seemingly munching on something. Tang Yaoyao from behind took a closer look and her scalp suddenly went numb. Because only then did she discover that there were blood holes in the chests of the male and female corpses, and the hearts inside had been dug out. After seeing the actions of the two cloaked figures, Tang Yaoyao suddenly understood that they were eating their hearts. Madam, how does your heart feel? At this time, a rough and deep male voice sounded, coming from the cloaked man on the left. As expected of a young girl, her heart is quite tender, but it's a pity that it tastes a little less tough. The woman next to her had a rather shrill voice, like a graceful lady criticizing the food in front of her. Hey, if we weren't addicted, we could actually sit down and taste it slowly. As he spoke, the man devoured the bloody heart in his hand, with a look of unfinished expression on his face as he sighed, "This is not enough." It doesn't matter if it's not enough. After the woman finished eating the heart in her hand, she suddenly said meaningfully, "Anyway, there are still ready-made ones here." The words just fell. Tang Yao Yao, who was peeking behind, suddenly felt alarm bells ringing in her heart. Just when she was about to retreat, the familiar female voice unexpectedly sounded from behind, with a strong sense of teasing. "Immortal, since you're here, don't leave. We can just have a good meal." Boom. The two palms faced each other, bursting out with endless energy. PFF'd. Tang Yao Yao felt as if she had been struck by lightning, vomiting blood, and then a hand grabbed her neck and lifted her up forcefully. "Who are you?" After just a brief confrontation, Tang Yao Yao felt the huge gap. You must know that her cultivation is at the top level of the Immortal King. Only the strong ones in the Immortal King realm can subdue her with just one move. Haha, have you ever heard of the heart-eating twin ghosts? The cloaked woman sneered. Under the brim of the hat, there was a middle-aged woman with flaming red lips, round and smooth curls, and a charming look. Her eyes seemed to seduce people's souls. Eat, the heart-eating ghosts. Tang Yao Yao felt as if she had fallen into an abyss, and her whole body was cold. The heart-eating ghosts were a pair of famous evil cultivators in the Qingtian domain. Over the years, they had committed countless heinous murders, and countless cultivators had their hearts dug out and died. In addition, they had a high level of cultivation and could perform unique combination skills, which were extremely powerful. After all, there were only a few Immortal Emperor-level strongmen, not to mention that these two were the best in the Immortal Emperor realm, and they also had a combination skill, which led to a direct surge in their strength. Many famous strongmen could not do anything to them, and they were even afraid of the heart-eating ghosts, and tried to avoid them when they met them. The once famous heart-eating ghosts made anyone who mentioned their names feel uncomfortable and instinctively covered their chests, fearing that their hearts would be dug out in the next second. This is enough to show their influence in the Qingtian realm. What Tang Yao Yao didn't expect was that this terrifying combination would appear in Moyun City. At this moment, she wanted to cry but had no tears, and said sadly, "Why am I so unlucky? Damn it, we are so lucky that we can catch an Immortal King-level strongman who came to our door on his own initiative." Shu Chunlian's beautiful eyes flashed, staring at Tang Yao Yao's chest, and a scarlet and slippery tongue stretched out of her mouth, licking the blood stains left at the corners of her mouth. Zhou Delang smiled cruelly. A girl with such a high level of cultivation must have a more delicious heart than the two just now. In the eyes of the world, they are monsters who like to eat hearts, but only they know why it has become like this. In their early years, they practiced a unique dual cultivation technique, which greatly improved their cultivation, but also brought a strong side effect, that is, they became extremely fond of eating the hearts of human beings. If they do not eat for a period of time, they will feel unbearable pain all over their body. In serious cases, they will even have reversed qi and blood, and finally explode and die. Another point is that for them, the higher the realm of the target, the greater the benefit of eating the heart, because this way they can last for a long time, and they don't have to look for food every few hours. Therefore, seeing that Tang Yao Yao, a Immortal King-level strongman, fell into the trap, the couple was very happy. It was like a pillow was given to you when you were sleepy, it was a coincidence. "Madam, this heart will be half for each of us." Zhou Delang swallowed his saliva with a gurgling throat, his face full of impatience. "Why are you in such a hurry? I will dig out her heart right now." Shu Chunlian raised her other hand, and her 5 fingers were bent like eagle claws, and she was about to pierce Tang Yao Yao's chest and dig out her heart. Tang Yao Yao, whose neck was being strangled, turned red in the face. In a hurry, out of the instinct of survival, she shouted with difficulty, "Let me go, I am a disciple of the Eternal Immortal Sect, and my master is Luo Qingwu." In an instant, the palm that was only a millimeter away from the chest suddenly shrank back as if it was electrocuted. Shu Chunlian looked surprised and doubtful, and dared not say, What did you say?" "Luo Wuqi is your master." Window. _Tabula equals window. _Tabula. Push mode. Thumbs feed 01. Container. Tabula below article feed. Placement. Below article feed. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 493. C494 Master. listen to me and thank you. Seeing this situation, Tang Yaoyao thought it was her master's name, frightened the female devil, and quickly added. My master is Luo Qingwu, the first genius of the eternal immortal sect. The most powerful immortal emperor who is famous in the northern cold immortal territory. If you want to kill me, have you considered the consequences? Hear the words. Shu Chunlian's expression changed, and the palm on her neck tightened due to nervousness. Are you serious? You, please put me down first. Tang Yaoyao was pinched until her face turned the color of pig liver. Humph, I'm sorry you don't dare to play tricks. Shu Chunlian snorted coldly, let go of her hand, and stared closely. Ahem, Tang Yaoyao patted her chest and felt much better. Then she took out a unique and simple token. This not only proves that she comes from the eternal immortal sect, but also proves that she is Luo Qingwu's only direct disciple. In the sect, seeing this token is like seeing her master. Shu Chunlian is also a discerning person. She stared at the token for a while and murmured, it's really true. Tang Yaoyao took a breath and put the token back. Okay, if that's the case, then I'll leave first, so you can take care of yourself. At this moment, she felt relieved, feeling like she was on the verge of death. At the same time, her emotions towards Luo Qingwu became more and more complicated. On the one hand, she had escaped death thanks to her master, so she felt grateful, but on the other hand, she was sad because after all, her master slept with the sweetheart she liked. But all in all, she was able to turn danger into good fortune this time and escape from the hands of the two heart-eating ghosts, thanks to the reputation of her master. It has to be said that she has a powerful master when she is away from home. As a disciple, her safety factor is still very high. Tang Yaoyao was filled with emotion and was about to leave the place of right and wrong. Sudden, Shu Chunlian's voice sounded behind her, with a hint of confusion, did I say I would let you go? Clam, Tang Yaoyao was stunned. Before she could react, Shu Chunlian's figure appeared in front of her again. I saw Shu Chunlian sneered at the corner of her mouth and threw her palm away. Snap, a clear slap sounded, Tang Yaoyao was whipped straight away, half of her face was almost deformed, and blood spurted out from the corner of her mouth. She fell heavily to the ground, her mind going blank. Who I am, where am I, what am I going to do? At this moment, Tang Yaoyao was really confused. She had clearly announced her master's name, why didn't that woman let her go? Little girl, do you think that if you tell me Luo Wushai's name, our heart-eating twin ghosts will be afraid of you and let you go? Shu Chunlian said sarcastically, aren't you afraid? Tang Yaoyao covered her face and said sadly. Who knows, Shu Chunlian sneered and said, I am definitely afraid. To be honest, we can't defeat her at all. She is the #1 person recognized by the Immortal Lord in the Northern Cold Immortal Realm. Then you still, haha, because Luo Wushao is notorious, even I have been dissatisfied with her for all the shameless and immoral things she has done. But this kind of woman is extremely talented and became famous at a young age. I am really jealous. I'm sorry, she has committed so many sins and has become neither a human nor a ghost, yet she can live so freely as she pleases. The more Shu Chunlian talked, the more excited she became, and she said with a ferocious face, if there is anyone in this world whose heart I want to eat most, it must be her Luo Wushai. It's a pity that she is so powerful that even if I join forces with my husband, I can't defeat her. All these years I can only listen to her various legendary deeds, and my teeth are itching with hatred. I didn't expect that Luo Wushao's apprentice fell into my hands. I can torture her apprentice to my heart's content, just like I tortured her, Luo Wushao. Speaking of this, Shu Chunlian paused for a moment, looking at Tang Yaoyao with deep meaning in her eyes and a chilling smile. Little girl, originally you didn't mention your master, so you could at least die quickly. But now, you will endure all kinds of cruel torture before you die. Finally, when you are about to die, you will be dug up by me. Out of the heart. Hear this. Tang Yaoyao was stunned on the spot with a very wonderful expression. Is it wrong for me to declare myself a master? You didn't tell me earlier. When Tang Yaoyao learned the reason, she felt regretful in her heart. She thought that by moving out her master, she would be lucky enough to save her life, but little did she know that what awaited her was an even more miserable end. If I had known this, I wouldn't have said it. Now I will not only die, but also die miserably. Wow, why am I so unlucky? After experiencing a double blow, Tang Yaoyao finally couldn't control her emotions and burst into tears. Master, I am really not blessed to be your disciple. Madam, after we kill her later, we have to handle the scene perfectly. After all, she is Luo Wush's disciple. Zhou Delang said solemnly. In fact, given his temperament, after hearing that Tang Yaoyao was Luo Qingwu's apprentice, his instinctive reaction was not to be involved. But if his lover insisted on doing so, he could only comply with her wishes. You don't have to say that, I'm not stupid. Shu Chunlian rolled her eyes. Then, with a ferocious smile on her face, she walked slowly towards Tang Yaoyao. Let me see, where to start first. Seeing that you are quite pretty, let's start by tearing off your face. Quote. With that said, he reached out his palm and grabbed it, intending to tear off Tang Yaoyao's pretty face. Suddenly, a playful male voice sounded in the sky. Hey, it's quite lively. Swish, a handsome man wearing black and white clothes and a jade crown came here with his hands behind his back. His eyes first stayed on Tang Yaoyao, then glanced at the couple with strange breath, and a meaningful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Madam, be careful. Zhou Delang subconsciously protected Shu Chunlian, his expression was very alert. Because this uninvited guest gave him a very powerful feeling, in terms of single combat, neither of them was a match. Who are you? Shu Chunlian also saw the opponent's strength and immediately scolded. I am the Taoist of Shujun Temple. Lu Tianming sneered. What? You are Lu Daozi of Shujun Temple. Zhou Delang was startled and quickly looked around to see if there were any strong men from Shujun Temple surrounding him. After all, Shujun Temple is the top force in Qingtian domain, and the ancestor of Shujun Temple is known as the strongest immortal in Qingtian domain. This sense of oppression is not something that everyone can bring. Now that he saw Lu Tianming in person, he immediately thought that Shu Zhengguan had taken action against the two heart-eating ghosts. So you are Lu Daozi. Seeing this, Shu Chunlian looked at the man in surprise, and thought of the recent gossip that had been making a lot of noise, and a hint of intrigue appeared at the corner of her mouth. I heard that this guy is short and small. He is really useless. But what she didn't know at the moment was that she would soon regret her thoughts. Chapter 494. C495 Zhou Delang collapsed. You two are so brave that you dare to attack the apprentice of that bitch Luo Wuji. Aren't you afraid that she will cause trouble to you? Lu Tianming said playfully. According to the original plan, he was going to use Tang Yaoyao to lure Luo Qingwu into a trap, and then take the opportunity to threaten the other party with hostages to make her lose her composure. In this way, when he uses this skill, the effect will be guaranteed. Unexpectedly, after coming all the way here, he was told by his spy that Tang Yaoyao fell into the hands of the two heart-eating ghosts. Lu Tianming, who was also in the Qingtian domain, knew how cruel these two guys were. If Tang Yaoyao was killed in advance, it would be very disadvantageous for his next actions. So, he quickly showed up to stop it. Don't be afraid of shit. As long as it falls into our hands, no matter who it is, it will die. But you showed up in time, could it be to save her? Zhou Delang said in a deep voice. A dark purple immortal wheel appeared behind him, and the immortal power in his body was like a surging sea, which was the beginning of the battle state. Shu Chunlian crossed her arms and said jokingly, I heard that you were fooled by Luo Wuji. Don't you want to seek revenge as Lu Daozi? You want to be attentive to her afterwards. This is too embarrassing. A hint of coldness flashed across Lu Tianming's eyes, and he said coldly, stop talking nonsense. I will settle accounts with that bitch. As for her apprentice, you can't touch her because she is a key link in my plan. Seeing Lu Tianming so tough, Zhou Delang hesitated because of his status, and subconsciously cast his eyes on his wife Shu Chunlian, wanting to ask for her opinion. Shu Chunlian laughed in anger. With her fierce temper, she naturally couldn't tolerate Lu Tianming's attitude, not to mention that he was a short boy whom she despised the most. Mr. Lu, don't think that we are afraid of you. Even if the little girl doesn't give it to you, do you have the ability to rob her openly? The air was full of strong gunpowder. Lu Tianming sneered, arrogant, do you really think I can't deal with you alone? HMPH, come and try if you have the guts. Shu Chunlian and Zhou Delang exchanged glances, and at the same time, they formed seals with their hands in tacit understanding. Boom, an energy aura that was 100 times more powerful than their own swept out like a violent tornado. The two were surrounded by black and white light, one black and one white, blending with each other, and attracting each other like a magnet, which was very strange and mysterious. This is the unique combination skill of the heart-eating ghosts. Once this move is performed, the effect of 1 + 1 is far greater than 2. The overall burst of strength is very terrifying, and in the process of fighting, they will be in harmony with each other and cooperate tacitly. It can be said that if the couple joins forces, they will be able to rank among the first echelon of the Immortal Emperor realm. Interesting. This is also the first time that Lu Tianming has seen the combination skill of the heart-eating ghosts. Although he had heard of it before, he didn't take it seriously. When he saw it today, his heart was suddenly awe-inspiring. These two guys are really strong. No wonder they have been active in the Qingtian realm for so long and have not been killed by other strong men. Mr. Lu, I heard that you failed to attack the immortal lord before and hurt your vitality. Now facing the two of us, how will you deal with it? I'm afraid it won't be so easy to get away. With the combined attack skills as a support, Shu Chunlian was full of confidence and challenged. Lu Daozi, don't say that we don't give face to Shujun Temple. Now as long as you withdraw, we will pretend that nothing happened. Zhou Delang warned with a deep look. After thinking it over and over again, he still had some concerns. After all, if he killed Lu Tianming here and attracted the pursuit of the ancestors of Shujun Temple, the life of the two heart-eating ghosts would end. On the other side, Tang Yaoyao was shocked. She didn't expect that even Lu Tianming from Shujun Temple came, and his purpose was not pure, but to deal with her master. Taking advantage of the chaos, she quickly took out an ancient talisman and injected immortal power. This is called the Mother-Child Talisman. There are 2 in total, which is very rare and expensive in the immortal world. And she is holding the child talisman. As long as the immortal power is injected, the mother talisman can be sensed. Even if they are separated by a vast immortaland, they can find the target with this talisman. At this time, seeing that everyone is distracted, Tang Yaoyao secretly uses the child talisman in her hand to convey a message to the mother talisman on Luo Qingwu. It's not that she doesn't want to escape directly, but with her strength, once she leaves the scene half a step, she will be noticed at the first time and then suppressed. I have heard for a long time that the combined attack skills of the heart-eating twin ghosts are unfathomable. Today I see that it is indeed extraordinary. Lu Tianming is fearless and sneered, but unfortunately, this is based on the concerted efforts of you and your wife. If one of you turns against us, it will fall apart. Hearing this, Zhou Delang and Shu Chunlian looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. The laughter was extremely sarcastic, as if they had heard the biggest joke in history. Lu, you are probably out of your mind, right? Are you saying this to alienate us? Shu Chunlian looked at him as if he were mentally retarded, and she looked down on Lu Tianming even more. My wife and I have a bond stronger than gold, and we have been through thick and thin together. We have supported each other all the way to where we are today. The friendship between us has long been known to the world, and even if the world changes, it will not change our friendship. But you actually want to alienate us on the spot. It's so stupid. I think highly of you, Lu Tianming, as a Taoist son. As if he had touched a reverse scale, Zhou Delang angrily scolded him emotionally. Haha, is that so? However, at this time, Lu Tianming's smile was meaningful, and his eyes flashed with a strange light. Invisibly, a mysterious energy wave spread out. Shu Chunlian, whose face was full of sarcasm just now, suddenly trembled violently. When she looked at Lu Tianming again, her beautiful eyes were as tender as water, and there was endless love in her eyes. At this moment, this half-aged lady's face was like a peach blossom, as if she saw her beloved lover, and her heart was filled with love. Madam, let's go up and teach this stubborn guy a lesson. Poor Zhou Delang didn't know that the lover around him had changed. Hoo. Amid the violent gusts of wind, Zhou Delang mobilized all his strength, his hands changed one after another, and he charged forward to deliver the strongest blow. Aha! Unexpectedly, a palm wrapped with terrifying strength burst out with a ray of light and hit Zhou Delang hard on the back. PFF'd. Zhou Delang was caught off guard and was attacked by a sneak attack. A large amount of blood spurted from his mouth, mixed with the broken internal organs, and he fell straight to the ground. His face was as pale as paper, and his eyes, apart from pain, were filled with deep disbelief. Because the only one who can sneak attack him at this time is his most trusted wife behind him. Seeing this scene, Tang Yaoyao was stunned. As a bystander, she felt incredible about what Shu Chunlian did. HMPH, you want to hurt me, Mr. Lu? You're looking for death. Shu Chunlian looked at the middle-aged man who was seriously injured and fell to the ground, her eyes full of disgust. Then, she looked at Lu Tianming across from her, and suddenly she was like a girl in love, intertwining her hands and twisting her body, and said delicately, Lu Lang, do you think I did the right thing? Seeing Shu Chunlian fall under his technique, Lu Tianming smiled playfully, well done. Mr. Lu praised me. Shu Chunlian's cheeks were full of joy, like a little girl who had just begun to have a love affair. Zhou Delang, husband, madam, what's wrong with you? Could it be that you've been possessed by evil spirits? Zhou Delang, who was lying on the ground, said in panic. Until now, he still didn't want to believe that Shu Chunlian betrayed him. After all, he and Shu Chunlian had been very close to each other for so many years, and they always stuck together wherever they went. However, Lu Tianming made Shu Chunlian switch sides in battle with just a few words. This made Zhou Delang feel very strange and terrified. Bah, who is your wife? You look like a pig, are you worthy of being my husband? My, Shu Chunlian's heart has always belonged to Lu Lang, and he is the one I love. Shu Chunlian was very angry and slapped Zhou Delang hard. PFF'd. Zhou Delang spat out blood again, his breath getting weaker and weaker. Impossible, this is impossible, he gritted his teeth. His eyes were as red as a wild beast, staring at the tall figure in front of him, suppressing the severe pain in his body and roaring. Lu Tianming, what kind of magic did you use to make my wife look like this? As soon as he finished speaking, his back was severely stepped on again, and his spine was broken into pieces. Ah, Zhou Delang was so painful that he broke into a cold sweat. I already told you, you are not allowed to call me madam in front of Lu Lang. Shu Chunlian said angrily with her hands on her hips. Seeing Zhou Delang's miserable look, Lu Tianming finally understood how happy Peach Blossom Immortal was back then. The feeling of cuckolding someone is really exciting. Ha 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 ha. You have to believe that I didn't do anything. It was the person you deeply loved who fell under my charm, understand? Lu Tianming looked proud and flicked his fingers. Hearing this, Zhou Delang, who didn't want to believe it, roared even more angrily, you fart. It must be your fault. Please bring back my familiar Lian Mei. Tisk, tisk, then I'll show you how far the Lian Mei in your mouth will go for me, just don't blink. Lu Tianming did not forget Shu Chunlian's initial contempt for him, and he immediately wanted to use her to stimulate Zhou Delang. Lu Lang, whatever you want me to do, I'm willing to do it. Shu Chunlian actually walked over on her own initiative, with a rosy face and a soft voice. Wow, Lu Tianming ripped off Shu Chunlian's cloak. Without the obstruction of the cloak, Shu Chunlian shows off her plump figure, with a convex figure and fair and smooth skin. Although there are some crow's feet at the corners of her eyes, her face is properly maintained and has the traces of time, giving her a mature charm like a young woman. Lu Tianming looked up and down carefully, feeling suddenly itchy. For some reason, since he practiced the yin-yang siphoning technique, his desire has greatly increased. What's more, in this situation, he wanted to do something wrong to Shu Chunlian even more. On the one hand, he wanted to take revenge on the couple, and on the other hand, he wanted to absorb the essence and strengthen himself. Lu Lang, Shu Chunlian couldn't help but said coquettishly as she was stared at by the man in front of her with burning eyes. Looking at her performance, is she still a bit arrogant like before? Any woman affected by the yin-yang siphoning skill will be willing to sacrifice without thinking and become an accessory of the caster. This is the terrifying thing about Peach Blossom Immortal Lord back then. Lu Tianming had a smile on his face, first caressed her face, and then slowly moved his hand downwards. Ah, as that tingling feeling appeared on her body, Shu Chunlian's breathing became rapid and her eyes gradually blurred. No, don't, stop it quickly, Zhou Delang shouted with grief and anger on his face. But this was just the beginning, and the scene that happened next would make him so angry that his lungs would explode and the blood in his body would rush to his head. Chapter 495. C496 Lu Tianming, I am so strong now. On the other side, the entire inn was shaking violently, scaring many monks who were staying overnight. They were all panicked and shouted. What happened? Suddenly, an extremely powerful aura burst out like a flood, instantly covering the entire inn. Many monks were pale and trembling with fear. The middle-aged shopkeeper was shocked and said in a lost voice, this aura means that someone has broken through to the immortal venerable. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was in an uproar. Even though Qingtian Domain is one of the top 5 territories in Beihan Immortal Domain, it can be said that there are many masters and strong people, but there are still very few people who have reached the realm of Immortal Venerable. Each of them is an absolute top combat force, and countless sects, immortal dynasties and families have to rely on existence. Therefore, anyone who breaks through to the Immortal Venerable means that he can be at the top of the pyramid of Beihan Immortal Domain. Wherever he goes, he will be wooed by major forces and worshipped by millions of creatures. Even if you look at the entire immortal world, your status is very transcendent. As long as the immortal emperor does not show up, you have absolute right to speak. Now, none of the cultivators thought that in this small Moyan city inn, a great figure at the level of immortal master could be born. It's incredible. A moment later, The door opened with a bang. A powerful woman in a white dress stepped out, her eyes were shining, her long black hair fluttered like a waterfall, and she descended to the mortal world like a goddess in the sky, making countless people feel awe. She first picked up the vermilion gourd, raised her head and poured a big mouthful of wine into her mouth, and then laughed heartily. Her laughter was very devilish. Ahahaha, from today on, I, Luo Qingwu, am a immortal master. Hearing this, the cultivators were shocked. The person who broke through the immortal master turned out to be the notorious Luo Wuji. Damn it, the atmosphere in Beihan Immortaland will be even worse now. I pay my respects to the immortal Lord Luo. The middle-aged shopkeeper's scalp numbed, and he knelt down in fear. We pay our respects to the immortal Lord Luo. All the guests knelt down, saying with great fear. As the saying goes, the immortal Lord cannot be insulted. Because of the strength of such a strong man, he can easily slaughter the creatures of a large domain and shed blood for hundreds of millions of miles. Although this is the most luxurious inn in Moyun City, those who usually come here are not ordinary cultivators, but they know that in front of an immortal lord, they are just ants. What's more, the other party is the female gangster Luo Wuji, which makes them even more afraid and tremble. Immortal Luo is so powerful, the big mushroom king who witnessed this scene said in admiration. Her aura is terrible, far better than the immortal lord level figures we met before, and this is just when she was promoted. She is really talented. Kanglang Jun was shocked and exclaimed. Hearing Luo Qingwu's devilish laughter, Yi Junline's forehead was covered with black lines, and he was speechless. Originally, when this woman appeared, she was full of prestige, but as soon as she opened her mouth, her image was immediately gone. It seems that no matter how high her realm is, she can't change her nature. But on second thought, it seems that I am the same. Oh, then it's okay. Get up. Luo Qingwu was in a very good mood, and waved her hand and shouted, Today, I, Luo, am happy. I will pay for all the consumption. Everyone eat and drink as much as you want. It's all on my head. Thank you, immortal Luo. The guests were stunned at first, and then they were ecstatic. Their views on Luo Qingwu changed greatly, and their good impression of her increased greatly. Who spread the rumor that this woman likes to take advantage of small things and has a bad character? I don't think so. Fuck, immortal Luo has changed her personality. So generous. Kanglang Jun was very surprised, and his shock was no less than seeing a legless old man walking briskly. After all, people can change. Yi Junline sighed. Soon, the middle-aged shopkeeper rubbed his hands and asked Luo Qingwu carefully. Lord Luo, they have spent more than 100,000 top-grade immortal crystals in total. Do you want to pay now? Of course, don't worry. You are of noble status, and the store will give you a 40% discount. The middle-aged shopkeeper was afraid that Luo Qingwu would be unhappy, so he quickly added another sentence. Discount? Who are you looking down on? Luo Qingwu stared. Do you think I can't afford it? The middle-aged shopkeeper was so scared that his legs went weak, and he quickly waved his hands to deny. No, that's not what I meant. If you mind, I'll charge you at the original price. Luo Qingwu waved his hands indifferently. Whatever, I'll buy it on credit first. Middle-aged shopkeeper. No, you're going to default on your debt. Then you just asked me to pay for the whole consumption. What the hell are you buying? Looking at the guests who were reveling below, the middle-aged shopkeeper wanted to cry but had no tears. This wave of losses was huge. Seeing this, Yi Junline's mouth twitched a few times. I take back what I said just now. That's right, I almost thought she was possessed. Kanglang Jun was relieved, and a relieved smile appeared on his face. Luo Wuji is well deserved. Shopkeeper, I'll pay for this. Yi Junline casually took out a storage bag and threw it over. The thing he cares least about is money. The middle-aged shopkeeper who took the bag took a quick look, then his eyebrows lit up, and he quickly thanked excitedly. Thank you, young master. Then he bowed respectfully and left. Hey, isn't it me who pays the bill? Luo Qingwu was surprised. Yi Junline was speechless. Sister, what you call paying the bill is buying on credit, right? I'm really convinced. Okay, I will make it up to you if you need me later. Luo Qingwu walked up, poked Yi Junline's arm with her elbow, winked, and said in a suggestive tone. Yi Junline, there are so many people here, how dare you say that? The big mushroom king looked puzzled. He always felt that the relationship between Master and Immortal Luo had become strange, but based on his knowledge, he couldn't figure out what was going on. Kanglang Jun next to him flashed his eyes, thinking of Tang Yaoyao's strange behavior before, and an idea suddenly appeared in his mind, making him widen his eyes in shock. Sensing something strange, Yi Junlin glanced at Kang Langjun from the corner of his eye. Kang Langjun shrank his neck in fear and quickly lowered his head. Even if he knows something, he doesn't dare to tell it. This kind of thing will rot in his stomach for the rest of his life. Hey, where is Yao Yao? Luo Qingwu glanced around and found that her apprentice was not there, and was very confused. Tang Shanzi went out a few days ago and has not returned yet. Big Mushroom King said seriously. Going out? Luo Qingwu raised her eyebrows. Did she give any reason? No, he just acted very strange before leaving. Big Mushroom King said calmly. Aha, Luo Qingwu and Yi Junlin looked at each other, with shock in their eyes. For some reason, they felt like their affair had been discovered, and they felt guilty. It's good now, even your apprentice knows. Who told you to shout so loudly? You're afraid that others won't hear you. Yi Junlin secretly transmitted the message. Damn it, you blame me. Why don't you let me scream if you feel so good? Luo Qingwu said angrily. Haha, I'm not her master anyway, so it's not me who's embarrassed. What a shame, doesn't this make you look good? Let her know what you are capable of, fellow Taoist Yi. Okay, you win. Luo Qingwu was so shameless that Yi Junlin was at a disadvantage. At this point, what else can he say? Etc. As if sensing some kind of fluctuation, Luo Qingwu frowned, and a glowing ancient talisman appeared in her hand, as if echoing from afar. This is the mother talisman among the child and mother talismans. She was immersed in the inspection, and her face suddenly changed. No, my apprentice is in danger. Before she had time to explain, she flashed and rushed towards Tang Yaoyao's location. This, Lord Kanglang said in surprise. Let's go and have a look. Yi Junlin frowned and followed. At this time, in the alley, Zhou Delang, who was lying on the ground, had a face full of grief and anger, and was so angry that he vomited blood. In his eyes, the woman he loved was catering to other men, and she was willing to let herself be manipulated. Especially the screams that kept ringing in his ears were like an awl hitting his skull hard, making him miserable. Did you see it? This is real technology, Lu Tianming said proudly. Lu Lang, I love you. Xu Chunlian shouted in unison, seemingly immersed in boundless joy. In fact, she was not happy at all, but due to the influence of yin-yang siphoning skill, she devoted herself to catering to Lu Tianming. Shut up, you bitch, stop talking, ah. Zhou Delang, who witnessed all this, was physically and mentally tortured, with tears mixed with snot flowing down his nose, and he howled hysterically. Oh my god, seeing this unsightly and exciting scene for the first time, Tang Yaoyao blushed fiercely. She felt like her whole body was getting hot and her heart was beating wildly. Although she still doesn't understand why Xu Chunlian suddenly betrayed her husband and took refuge in the arms of another man. But compared to what is happening now, it is no longer important. Sure enough, this Taoist master is extremely majestic. Lu Tianming puffed up his chest proudly, feeling very accomplished in his heart and looking very confident. He is terrifyingly strong now. Yes, Lu Lang, you are really annoying. Xu Chunlian looked like she was completely conquered, twisting her body and trying her best to cater to him. Haha, when I lure Luo Wuxie here, I will make her regret the mistakes she made before. Lu Tianming sneered as he thought of something. The one he wanted to conquer most was Luo Qingwu, because this woman had brought him the greatest shame in his life, and it would be difficult for him to eliminate his hatred without avenging her. Window. _tabula equals window. _tabula. Push mode. Thumb speed 01. Container. Tabula below article thumbnail. 300 times 250 feet. Placement. Below article thumbnail minus 300 times 250 feet. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 496. C497 Luo Qingwu, you are really hungry. Aha! At this moment, a streak of snow-white light pierced the sky like a comet and hung above the alley. The person who came was none other than Luo Qingwu. She quickly found Tang Yaoyao's location with the help of the ancient talisman in her hand. And the ridiculous scene happening below was also visible to everyone. When he saw something indescribable happening between Lu Tianming and a woman on the spot, Luo Qingwu, who was originally menacing, was dumbfounded and stunned. What's going on? In broad daylight, there was a violent movement. So brave. Seeing Luo Qingwu, Lu Tianming was also stunned. He did not expect that the two of them would meet again in this way. In an instant, the accelerating impact gesture was instantly stopped. Lu Tianming stood there like a clay sculpture, staring blankly at the woman in the white dress. The two looked at each other from a distance, big eyes staring at small eyes. It is worth mentioning that although Lu Tianming had stopped, Shu Chunlian was still shouting with her eyes closed, but she didn't know that the man behind her had stopped moving. The air was suddenly filled with embarrassment. Master! Seeing Luo Qingwu coming to save her, Tang Yaoyao shouted excitedly, her voice slightly choked with sobs. Frankly speaking, Master is still very good to her. Ahem. At this moment, Lu Tianming came to his senses, pretended to cough a few times to cover up his embarrassment, and sneered. Luo Wushao, you bitch, I didn't expect you to come so soon. That's fine, it saves me the trouble of looking for you. Looking at the fit pair, a man and a woman, Luo Qingwu said with strange eyes. Lu Tianming, you are crazy. Can't you separate first and then talk to me? And can you stop her from barking anymore? It's really noisy. Lu Tianming was silent for a moment, then uttered a few words heavily, remember, this is what you asked me for first. Suddenly, like a farmer pulling out a carrot, there was mud and water. Lu Lang, shut up. Lu Tianming only felt that his face was dull, and he pushed Shu Chunlian away with a scolding. Labor and management have all stopped, and you still keep shouting. What do you mean? Are you sincerely trying to deal with me? Shu Chunlian was a little aggrieved. She had obviously performed very hard, so why was she still being disliked? However, due to the influence of the yin-yang siphon technique, her mind was still focused on Lu Tianming, and she had no complaints in her heart. Seeing this, Luo Qingwu said contemptuously, Lu Tianming, you are really hungry. As a Taoist disciple of Shu Zhen Temple, you are so hungry and unscrupulous. If this matter spreads, where will the face of your Taoist temple go? Besides, she looked at Shu Chunlian and Zhou Delang and said mockingly, it is rumored that the heart-eating ghosts are a loving Taoist couple. As a result, I opened my eyes today. It turns out that your relationship is so fragile that it will be torn apart by this kind of scum. Stop talking, Zhou Delang, who fell to the ground, was heartbroken when he heard these words. Lu Tianming was not annoyed, and sneered, Luo Wushao, don't bury me, she is just an appetizer for me, the real staple food is you. Damn it, are you too confident? Do you think I will be taken down by you like that stupid woman? You don't even lower your head and look down. Do you have the qualifications? After saying that, Luo Qingwu stretched out her little finger and said with a look of disgust. You. Hearing this, veins popped up on Lu Tianming's forehead. This was the most intolerable humiliation for him as a man. Bitch, I'm going to let you have a taste of it now. Immediately, Lu Tianming used the yin-yang siphon technique, a strange light appeared in his eyes, and an invisible energy wave concentrated on Luo Qingwu. Luo Qingwu raised her eyebrows. In her eyes, Lu Tianming's image inexplicably became much more pleasing to the eye, and even began to look taller and majestic. You, come here and kneel down. Lu Tianming straightened his back and ordered in a tone of voice. Yes. Luo Qingwu slowly walked towards Lu Tianming like a ghost. Master, no, Tang Yaoyao was shocked. Only then did she realize that Lu Tianming had some kind of hypnotic evil power that could make all women at his mercy. Stop shouting, she only listens to me now. Seeing that the other party had really been tricked, Lu Tianming showed a perverted smile and felt uncontrollably excited. At the same time, Yi Junlin and the others who followed closely also witnessed this scene. Seeing Luo Qingwu obediently follow the instructions as if she was possessed by an evil spirit, it was incredible. Senior Yi, what happened to immortal Luo? Kanglang Jun was shocked. Yi Junlin frowned. Preliminary judgment shows that Lu Tianming must have some kind of special skill that can make the target obey his orders unconditionally. But he felt very strange, how could a mere immortal emperor, Hida, achieve this level? What's more, Luo Qingwu is now in the realm of a mortal lord, and Yi Junlin doesn't believe that she will be manipulated. For safety reasons, he was prepared to intervene. Now, Lu Tianming watched the woman in the white dress with a beautiful face and hot figure approaching him step by step, and all kinds of evil thoughts suddenly filled his mind. Kneel down for me. When Luo Qingwu arrived, Lu Tianming issued instructions again, preparing to humiliate this woman in his own way. Sudden, Luo Qingwu's eyes showed a touch of teasing, and her smile was meaningful. Lu Tianming immediately noticed something was wrong, and before he could react in time, a strong wind surged from his crotch. Bang! The eggs burst and the yolks flew everywhere. Ah! The howl like a slaughtered pig echoed through the sky, making countless male compatriots tremble. Everyone present was shocked. Lu Tianming was seen covering his crotch with both hands, his face full of pain. He fell to the ground and twitched wildly, screaming in agony, his whole body dripping with cold sweat from the pain, as if he had just experienced a major blow. Hiss! Seeing this, Yi Junlin and the others gasped with pity on their faces. Sure enough, things are not that simple. Luo Qingwu sneered and said, "What are you doing with your evil writing skills?" In fact, when Lu Tianming used his power, she was indeed affected, but fortunately she had already advanced to the realm of immortal sovereign, so the impact on her was not great, so she did the opposite and directly kicked the opponent's lifeblood. "You, why didn't you get hit?" Lu Tianming said with difficulty as his expression twisted in pain. There was deep confusion in his tone. Hee. Only then did Luo Qingwu reveal her cultivation aura. Feeling this terrifying aura fluctuation, Lu Tianming's pupils shrank suddenly, and he lost his voice. You are the immortal." No wonder his yin and yang siphoning technique didn't work on this woman. It turned out to be this reason. It's no wonder that even though Peach Blossom Immortal Master's skills are very evil, it is still difficult to succeed in the face of women whose cultivation levels are too different. After all, the gap between the Immortal Lord and the Immortal Emperor is as insurmountable as a chasm. After learning the truth, Lu Tianming's mentality was completely broken. Why is this happening? It happened at this time that something went wrong. If I knew that this bitch broke through and became an immortal, I wouldn't come even if I were beaten to death. He wailed inwardly. Lu Lang, Shu Chunlian recovered from the shock and cried out sadly. There was only one thought in her mind, and that was to fight Luo Qingwu. "Luo Wushao, I will fight with you." Shu Chunlian used all her strength and formed seals with her hands to launch a fierce attack. "Go away, I'll take care of you later." Luo Qingwu looked disgusted, raised her hand and threw it away like a fly. Ah! Shu Chunlian felt like she was struck by lightning, her body flew backwards, she fell to the ground and vomited blood, her face was in pain. Lady. Even so, Zhou Delang still couldn't bear it. Unexpectedly, after Shu Chunlian regained her composure, she glared at Zhou Delang fiercely. "Shut up, you loser doesn't deserve to call me madam. My heart belongs to Lu Lang." Zhou Delang saw this scene. Luo Qingwu's eyes flashed with strange color, thinking that she seemed to be affected by something just now, and she immediately concluded that Lu Tianming was responsible for all this. "Lu Tianming, you are so clever that even I almost fell into your trap. Now let me see what is going on." With that said, Luo Qingwu raised her hand, pressed it on Lu Tianming's head, and started the soul-searching technique. Aha! Facing the power of the Immortal Lord, Lu Tianming was unable to resist at all and could only let him search for the memories in his mind. Peach Blossom Immortal, Yin-Yang Siphon Technique. "I see," Luo Qingwu murmured softly, her eyes becoming cold and stern. As a monk of the Eternal Immortal Sect, she is certainly familiar with the powerful immortal masters who were active in the northern cold immortal territory in the distant past. If the brewing immortal who discovered the Devil's Cave until he died in battle is a glorious image with a good reputation and will last forever, then the Peach Blossom Immortal is the shameless person who has been saddled with infamy and has the most ruined reputation. He controlled countless women for his control and cuckolded tens of millions of male compatriots, which once shrouded the northern Han immortal territory in panic. Later, Peach Blossom Immortal was wiped out by the ancestor of the Li family, and his sinful life came to an end. On the day when the news of the rumored death was made public, countless men and women hugged each other and cried, and firecrackers and fireworks went off. It was a universal celebration, which shows how huge the influence was. So, Luo Qingwu was shocked when she learned that Lu Tianming had inherited the mantle of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord. But soon, it was replaced by an endless killing intent. Because as long as he is the descendant of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord, he is the public enemy of the entire northern Han immortal domain, and he must be eliminated quickly. Window. _tabula equals window. _tabula. Push mode. Thumb speed 01. Container. Tabula below article thumbnail. 300 times 250 feet. Placement. Below article thumbnail minus 300 times 250 feet. Target _type. Mix. Chapter 497. C498 Zhou Delang, I forgive you. You want to kill me. Feeling a strong killing intent, Lu Tianming was so frightened that his scalp went numb, and he forgot the severe pain in his crotch for a moment. After all, if that thing is gone, there is still a chance to grow back. If it is gone, your life will really be gone. Let's not talk about your sinister intentions towards me just now. If you inherit the mantle of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord, you will have no reason to live anymore. Everyone who gets it will be killed. Luo Qingwu sneered. Peach Blossom Immortal Lord. After hearing this, Zhou Delang finally understood why his Taoist companion suddenly became like that. Let me just say, my wife and I are in love with each other, and we are very close to each other. How could we be broken up by a guy we only met once? It turns out that there is the evil power of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord behind this. Thoughts are turning. Zhou Delang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. But when he thought about the two of them doing exercises in front of him, he suddenly felt as if he had eaten a dead mouse, and he felt very uncomfortable and aggrieved. In any case, he was indeed taken in by that piece of shit Lu Tianming. Luo Wuxiao, I am the disciple of Shu Zhenguan. If you kill me, my ancestor will not let you go. Lu Tianming suppressed the fear in his heart and roared like a beast that was cornered. He originally thought it was foolproof, but in the end he was seeking his own death. Not to mention how regretful he felt. At this point, he could only bring out the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan to scare Luo Qingwu, trying to achieve a shocking effect. After all, the outside world knows that the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan is recognized as the strongest immortal in the Qingtian domain. It can be said that he has accumulated power for a long time in these long years. The most important thing is that compared with the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan, the immortal ancestor of the eternal immortal sect is nothing at all, so he doesn't believe that Luo Qingwu can ignore it. HMPH, even if he is here, I dare to kill you in front of him. Luo Qingwu snorted coldly, raised her hand and slapped it away. The terrifying power of the immortal lord was as vast as the sea, and it pressed hard on Lu Tianming in an instant. No, Lu Tianming cried out in horror, his eyes filled with deep despair. Boom, the ground was shaking violently and smoke was billowing. The dignified Shu Zhenguan Daozi was slapped to dust. In fact, when Lu Tianming was dying, he had various sect treasures on his body to resist him, but they were useless in the face of Luo Qingwu's absolute power. In the end, his whole body turned into powder and dissipated in the air. Lu Lang, witnessing Lu Tianming's tragic death, Shu Chunlian let out a heartbreaking cry, but the cry stopped abruptly the next second. At this time, her face was full of confusion, as if she was wondering why she was like this reaction. Since Lu Tianming died, this also caused her to return to her original state and no longer be affected by the yin-yang siphon technique. When she saw the seriously injured middle-aged man lying on the ground and dying, Shu Chunlian first let out a piercing scream, and then rushed over in panic to help him up. Husband, what's wrong with you? What bastard hurt you like this? Hear the words. Zhou Delang's mouth twitched a few times. Madam, what do you think? Shu Chunlian was stunned, as if she was remembering something. A flash of shame flashed in her eyes, and she blushed with embarrassment. I don't know. Lady, that's enough, I know what you want to say. But can you blame me for this? I was also forced. Shu Chunlian sat on the ground with an aggrieved look on her face and cried out emotionally. Zhou Delang fell into silence. It is true that he witnessed the marriage between Shu Chunlian and Lu Tianming, but the problem is that Shu Chunlian was controlled, so the fault was not hers, she was also a victim. Why? Zhou Delang closed his eyes and sighed deeply. When he opened his eyes again, a relieved smile appeared on his lips. It's okay, I forgive you. Da Lang, I knew I was right about you. Shu Chunlian was very moved. Then she thought of something and quickly lowered her voice and said. Actually, that man named Lu is not powerful at all. There is no way he can compare with your husband. When Zhou Delang heard this, he felt a little comforted. That's good. At the same time, seeing that the crisis was over, Tang Yaoyao ran to Luo Qingwu excitedly. Master. Luo Qingwu pinched her face and said angrily, look at you, running around outside for nothing. If I hadn't arrived in time, you would have been harmed by that scumbag. As soon as these words came out, Tang Yaoyao pursed her lips and looked at Luo Qingwu with resentful eyes. Her meaning was self-evident. Seeing this, Luo Qingwu seemed to have thought of something, and retracted her hand angrily. A look of embarrassment flashed across her beautiful eyes. Then, he cast his eyes on the couple and scolded, heart-eating ghosts, you have done many evil things, and now you are still harmful to my apprentice. Do you think you should die? Boom, a sense of immortal-level oppression enveloped him. Luo Immortal Lord, spare your life. Zhou Delang and Shu Chunlian were so frightened that they felt like they were waking up from a dream, and shouted with horror on their faces. Haha, it's too late. Luo Qingwu sneered, raised her hand and slapped it hard. Bang, the screams stopped abruptly, and two masses of blood mist quickly dispersed. The two heart-eating ghosts that were notorious in the blue sky territory ceased to exist starting today. Tang Immortal, you are injured, let me help you heal it. The big Mushroom King ran over, his hands blooming with soft green light. Thank you, little black Taoist friend. Tang Yaoyao said gratefully. Fortunately, he's okay. Yi Junlin came over. Well, Tang Yaoyao lowered her head, not daring to look at Yi Junlin. Thinking of the noise she heard outside the door that day, Her heart skipped a beat and she felt very ashamed. Yi Junlin also realized something, coughed a few times to cover up his embarrassment, and quickly changed the topic. Fellow Taoist Luo, who is this peach blossom immortal? Is it worthy of your big reaction? Hearing this, Luo Qingwu's expression became serious. Fellow Taoist Yi, you don't know what it means to have the inheritance of peach blossom immortal lord. If Lu Tianming's relationship really becomes a problem, it will be a disaster for the entire northern Han immortal territory. Disaster. Then, she told the story of Peach Blossom Immortal Lord. Hiss, there is such an evil technique in this world. This Peach Blossom Immortal is really a genius. Lord Kanglang exclaimed. He was born in the ancient Kunlun world and has seen many talented people, but this is the first time he has heard of such a strange existence as the Peach Blossom Immortal. This kind of person is really crazy. Yi Junlin was shocked and amazed. Sure enough, there is never a shortage of talents in this world. Not only did he embark on the path of cultivating immortality by eating soft food, but he also created a yin harvesting technique that made women fall madly in love with him. The most disgusting thing is that he was also keen on seizing other people's Taoist companions and crazily cuckolding countless male compatriots. Who can bear this? In this way, Lu Tianming, who inherited his mantle, really deserves to die. If he really becomes a hero, he will be the second Peach Blossom Immortal. Now that Lu Tianming dies in my hands, this matter will definitely alarm the ancestor of Xu Zhengguan. With his temperament, he will definitely anger our eternal immortal sect. I must return to the sect immediately to make full preparations. Luo Qingwu said in a deep voice. Is he good at fighting? Yi Junlin became interested. Luo Qingwu said solemnly. As early as many years ago, he was recognized as the strongest immortal in the Qingtian territory. He was among the top 10 strong men in the northern cold immortal territory. His strength is unfathomable. That's it. A strange look flashed in Yi Junlin's eyes, wondering how many punches a strong man of this level could catch from him. Chapter 498. C499 Immortal Emperor Weapon. Fellow Taoist Yi, the situation is urgent, let's just leave it alone. Luo Qingwu said seriously as if she had made some kind of decision. Ah, Tang Yaoyao raised her head, a strong sense of reluctance flashed in her eyes. Although she is embarrassed to face this young man now, she is still happy to be by his side. Now that we are apart, I feel empty inside. Just as Yi Junlin was about to speak, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering the sign-in task, completing the sign-in at the Eternal Immortal Sect, and being rewarded with the Kang Yuan sword being upgraded to an Immortal Emperor weapon. Close black lens bracket. Yi Junlin's eyes flashed, now there is an Immortal Emperor weapon to take. Although with his 7th level Immortal Cultivation, the flying sword will be upgraded to the corresponding level, which is the category of high-grade immortal weapons, but how can any real Immortal Emperor weapon be as good as it? Just for this reward, this wave must go. Fellow Taoist Luo, we have nothing to do anyway. If you don't mind, we can go together, what do you think? Hear the words. Luo Qingwu was stunned and her eyes lit up. To be fair, if someone with unknown combat power like Yi Junlin was involved, she would be much more relaxed in the face of the attack by the ancestor of Xu Zhengguan. Since fellow Taoist Yi has spoken, there is no problem. Our Eternal Immortal Sect welcomes you all to be our guests. That's good. Yi Junlin smiled. Seeing this, Tang Yaoyao felt relieved and felt happy from the bottom of her heart. Soon, the group left Moyan City and embarked on the road to the Eternal Immortal Sect. However, the atmosphere on the road was inexplicably weird. Tang Yaoyao lowered her head and said nothing. She was no longer as lively as before. She occasionally glanced at Yi Junlin secretly and pursed her lips. Tang Shanzi, are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? King Mushroom asked out of concern. No, Tang Yaoyao shook her head and fell into silence. After receiving this answer, Big Mushroom King had nothing to say. Seeing this, Mr. Kanglang on the side seemed to feel that some of his previous conjectures had been verified. He immediately suppressed the shock in his heart, stretched his old face, and closed his mouth tightly. He didn't dare to show that he knew the inside story. There is a saying that goes, only the dead can keep secrets, and he doesn't want to become a corpse that keeps secrets forever. Luo Qingwu habitually carried the wine gourd and took a few sips from time to time, pretending to be calm as if nothing had happened. Yi Junlin, who was well aware of this, touched his nose with a wry smile on his lips. It didn't take long. A sneaky figure came to the scene of the incident. When he saw the blood stains left by Lu Tianming before his death, he was so frightened that his legs became weak and he lost his voice. It's over, something big happened. The person who came was the spy of Shu Zhenguan. Immediately afterwards, the news of Lu Tianming's death spread to the sect, instantly causing a sensation like an earthquake. Old ancestor, something bad is going to happen. He will encounter something unexpected tomorrow. Please make the decision for him, ancestor. The master of Shu Zhenguan led a group of elders, knelt down in front of the forbidden ground, and cried out sadly. Rumble. The originally silent forbidden area suddenly erupted with violent vibrations, and a huge gray beam of light rose into the sky, stirring up the vast clouds with a radius of thousands of miles. In the forbidden area, a thin figure was holding a fly whisk, looming in the mist. The next second, he appeared in front of everyone, with a strong sense of oppression coming from all directions, making it difficult for them to breathe. The ancestor of Shu Zhenguan has gray hair on his temples, his hair is tied up in a bun, and he is wearing a black Taoist robe. His whole body is filled with indescribable immortality. At this moment, his expression is cold, his eyes are shining, and he says coldly with full of anger. Who killed this child tomorrow? Tell me. The majestic voice sounded like thunder, causing everyone to have splitting headaches. Ancestor Qi, Tianming was killed by a strong man from the eternal immortal sect. The murderer was Luo Qingwu, who is known as the strongest immortal emperor in the northern Han immortal territory. The viewer said bravely, Eternal immortal sect, Luo Qingwu. A cold light burst out from the eyes of the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan. He had heard of this woman's name in the northern Han immortal realm, and her qualifications were incredible to him. He did not expect that the other party would be so bold and reckless, even daring to kill the Taoists of Shu Zhenguan. This kind of behavior is already stepping on his head and shit. If he is indifferent to this, where will the face of Shu Zhenguan be from now on? Luo Qingwu, not only will I kill you, but I will also make your sect pay a heavy price. The sleeves and robes of the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan swelled, and the robes on his body made a hunting sound. A terrifying wave of air exploded, knocking over all the masters of the temple and others. Rumble. The sound of sonic booms is endless. A flash of bright black light left in an instant, heading to the eternal immortal sect. Master, the ancestor seems to have become stronger again. All the elders were in awe. Haha, watch carefully, the eternal immortal sect will be destroyed because of a woman's fault. The middle-aged viewer sneered confidently with his hands behind his back. After all, that is the being who occupies the most powerful throne in the blue sky territory. If he becomes truly angry, the consequences will be disastrous. But what he didn't know at this moment was that this would be the last time he saw his ancestor. Boom boom boom, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the pressure was like a storm sweeping across. Hundreds of millions of monks felt this aura, trembling with fear and trembling with fear. At this moment, the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan was full of anger and unscrupulously vented his cultivation aura. For a time, many forces in the Qingtian territory received the news, and many powerful people felt their scalps go numb. What's going on? Who offended the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan? It is said that Lu Daozi was killed, and the murderer was Luo Wuxiao from the eternal immortal sect. Damn it, is that female gangster crazy? And in the outside world. On a certain mountain peak covered with peach blossoms. Clusters of peach blossoms are in bloom, and the tangy floral fragrance fills the air, making people feel relaxed and happy. In the deepest part of the mountain, a barrier is isolated from the world. Passing through the barrier is the paradise of cave heaven. Here, you can see the graceful figures of beautiful women everywhere, just like the paradise that men dream of. In a peach forest, bursts of laughter like silver bells sounded around, and it seemed that many women were playing and playing. Master Bo, come and catch Xiao Kui. Oh, don't slap the slave's ass. Sisters, run quickly, Master Bo is here. Laughter filled the surrounding area. If you look closely, you will see many women with cool clothes and good looks playing a game of hide and seek with a young man whose eyes are covered with black cloth. These women all have their own unique looks, and the most frightening thing is that their cultivation is in the ranks of immortal kings and even immortal emperors, but they are all willing to please the blindfolded young man. Don't run away, let me touch each one. Hey, why are my hands so wet? Who is bleeding? Ha 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 ha. The blindfolded young man wearing a peachwood hairpin laughed. The laughter was very wanton, like a young man from an aristocratic family who indulged in sexual pleasure. Suddenly, a flash of rainbow-like purple light fell on the open space. It was a veiled woman in a purple skirt. She respectfully raised her hands to the young man and said, Master Bo, something big is happening outside. Hear the words. The young man stopped and pulled off the black cloth from his eyes, revealing a pair of iconic fox eyes. The strange light flowed, and his handsome face with an evil spirit revealed a look of interest. Oh, tell me, his name is Bo Chengli. But thousands of years ago, he still had a title that was famous in the northern Han immortal realm and made countless people talk about it. That is, Peach Blossom Immortal Lord. Warm reminder. If you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error, or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 499. C500 The Immortal Ancestor is angry. That's right, Taohua Immortal Venerable was not dead. The one that Li Ruotong killed with one finger that day was the clone he created with great effort. This led to the world to mistakenly believe that the infamous Taohua Immortal Venerable had fallen, but little did they know that Bo Chengli, the original body, was dormant and quietly developed and completely disappeared from the public sight. When he recalled what happened at the beginning, Bo Chengli was extremely glad for the choice he made. Because he committed a heinous crime and aroused public anger, all the immortals wanted to unite to attack him. If he did not take countermeasures, then the fate that awaited him was to be besieged to death by many immortals. In a hurry, Bo Chengli decided to take a different approach and use a clone he had worked hard to condense to go to the Li family ancestor with great fanfare. Although his clone could not perform the yin-yang siphon technique, its strength was close to 90% of the original body. Bo Chengli's idea was very simple. On the one hand, he wanted to test the strength of the Li family ancestor and whether he had an opportunity to take advantage of him. On the other hand, he wanted to use his clone as bait to confuse the outside world. But his clone was too precious, and he was reluctant to discard it unless it was absolutely necessary, so the best result was that he used his skills to successfully control the Li family ancestor. After all, Li family ancestor Li Ruotong was a woman and was also recognized as the strongest immortal in Beihan immortal realm. If he could control her, he would be fearless in the face of the siege of various powerful people. When Bo Chengli had this ambition and used his clone to deal with Li Ruotong, a terrifying scene happened. As soon as his proud clone broke into the Li family ancestral land, it was killed by Li Ruotong, who was sitting in the depths of the Moon Palace, with just one finger. The whole process was very smooth. It seemed that what was wiped out was just an insignificant stink bug. This frightened Bo Chengli, who was hiding in the dark and observing the situation, so much that he almost fainted on the spot. This woman's strength is so terrifying. She can kill his clone with one finger, which means she can also kill his body. Therefore, when Bo Chengli saw the difference in strength, he immediately adopted the second plan, which was to escape. He used the dead clone as a cover, and then hid his identity from then on, quietly developing in Beihan immortal domain, waiting for the opportunity. Ironically, countless cultivators thought that Taohua Immortal Venerable had been killed by the Li family ancestor in the sky with one finger, but he just continued to enjoy life in a different way. After so many years, Bo Chengli secretly traveled to many large domains and used his skills to continue to control many female strongmen, but due to the previous bloody lessons, he was not as unscrupulous as before, but became very low-key and secretive. Gradually, a huge immortal cultivation force rose in Beihan immortal domain. Except for Bo Chengli, all of them were women. They are all famous fairies in the local area, and are the goddesses that countless men dream of. However, under the secret influence of yin-yang siphon, they are full of love for Bo Chengli and are willing to go through fire and water for him. Even though Bo Chengli is now more powerful than before, he has always had a heart disease, that is, Li Ruotong, the ancestor of the Li family. As long as this woman is still there, he dare not act recklessly and be cautious no matter what he does. Now, the maid came to report the situation outside, which made Bo Chengli serious all of a sudden. Report to Lord Bo, this is what happened. Suddenly, the maid repeated what she saw and heard in the outside world intact. I really didn't expect that this would happen in Qingtian domain. A touch of surprise flashed in Bo Chengli's eyes. Even he was extremely afraid of the true strength of the ancestor of Shujun Temple. In order to ensure that everything was foolproof, he dared not provoke the other party. Who would have thought that a woman would dare to provoke such a top powerhouse? Luo Qingwu, it seems that she is a woman with great talent, but unfortunately she offended the ancestor of Shujun Temple, and she has no chance of survival just because of this. Otherwise, I would like to go there in person and take her into my harem. What a pity, what a pity. Bo Chengli shook his head, his tone quite regretful. Come on, fairies, let's continue playing, whoever is caught will sleep with you tonight. As he said, he continued to cover his eyes with a black cloth, with a wicked smile on his lips, and grabbed the women around him with both hands. Oh, Master Bo, you hurt me. After a while, a burst of joyful laughter sounded, and many women laughed so hard that they were shaking with laughter, and their appearance was charming. On the other side, the internal atmosphere of the Wanji Xian sect was gloomy and depressing. Because the news that Luo Qingwu killed Lu Tianming spread, everyone felt that the sect was in danger of extinction. Who is Lu Tianming? He is the Taoist disciple of Shujun Temple. If he is killed without permission, it will be a slap in the face of Shujun Temple. The most terrifying thing is, the ancestor of Shujun Temple is the strongest person in Qingtian domain. His anger is unbearable for the entire Wanji Xian Zong. Hey, Elder Luo is confused. It's okay to cause trouble outside, but now it's causing such a big commotion. It seems that my Wanji Xian Zong will be destroyed. When the ancestor of Shujun Temple comes, how can we resist it alone? It's over, it's over. For a time, the people of the sect were panicked and rumors spread. Ancestor, why don't the sect try its best to make compensation? After all, we are completely at a disadvantage this time. In the bamboo forest, Sect Master Wei endured the shame in his heart and asked with a stiff upper lip. He didn't want to do this, but the situation was pressing. Who let Luo Qingwu cause such a big disaster that the entire sect was about to fall? You mean, you want my Wanji Xian Zong to compromise? In front, a middle-aged man with long hair draped behind him, a handsome face, and a calm temperament, picked up the teacup and put it to his mouth. He was about to drink it, but he paused when he heard this. Swish! The eyes suddenly burst out with a sharp light that split the sky, which made the Wei sect master dare not look directly at it, and his scalp numbed. Ancestor, calm down, this is the only feasible way so far, the Wei sect master stammered. He was muttering in his heart. You said it as if you would not do this. Do you really dare to offend the ancestors of Shu Zhengguan? You know, you are both ancestors, but your strengths are very different. Do I need to remind you? I am really convinced. At this time, the eyes of the Chengsheng patriarch became more and more gloomy, and his thoughts were erratic. Ever since he returned from the supreme secret realm with a failure and missed the immortal Tao fruit, he felt so uncomfortable. Especially, when he thought about being beaten and crushed by absolute strength, he felt a sense of shame whenever he recalled it. Now, just when he was extremely unhappy, Shujun Temple wanted to trouble him. The long-suppressed anger accumulated in his chest, and the Chengsheng patriarch, who was getting more and more angry, finally broke out. He threw the cup angrily, stood up suddenly, his long hair flying, and shouted in a strong posture. If the ancestor of Shujun Temple dares to attack, I will kill him. As soon as these words came out, it was like thunder exploding in the bamboo forest. The head of the Wei sect master was buzzing, and he almost suspected that his ears had heard it wrong. In his eyes, the old ancestor who usually behaved so low-key had become unprecedentedly tough, and dared to call for war and killing even the strongest man in Qingtian domain. Is this crazy? Boom. However, at this moment, the sky outside suddenly dimmed, and it was dark everywhere, giving people a terrible sense of oppression. I am the old ancestor of Shujun Temple. I came here today for nothing else but to destroy your Wanji Xian sect. Above the sky, a skinny figure holding a whisk stepped forward, his eyes pierced the sky like lightning, and his majestic voice was full of domineering. Chapter 500, C501 The Immortal Ancestor, I will not pretend anymore. The powerful arrival of the ancestor of Shu Zhengguan instantly caused panic among the monks of the Eternal Immortal Sect. What did he say? He actually wanted to destroy our Eternal Immortal Sect. Damn it, I just passed the sect trial the year before last and joined the sect. Before I could stand out, I encountered such an unlucky thing. Is it too late to quit the sect now? The ancestor of Shu Zhengguan is the #1 monk in the Qingtian domain. Unless there are other top forces willing to support us, our Eternal Immortal Sect will surely perish. Hey, who would offend such a powerful man for us? Others are not fools. The aura of despair filled the entire sect, and cries of grief came one after another. Boom. At the same time, the sect protecting formation was opened, and a huge blazing halo emerged from the main peak, as beautiful as the vast galaxy. Immediately, it spread to the edge of the sect at an extremely fast speed, and the surface of the halo condensed into planet-like light clusters. The sight was very spectacular, like stars holding the moon, protecting the immortal sect forever. This is the galaxy formation, its level far exceeds the heavenly grade formation. Strictly speaking, it is a 5th grade Tao formation. To know, the 9th grade heavenly formation can resist the most powerful immortal king, but if one is an immortal king level powerhouse, the threat the heavenly formation can pose is greatly weakened. Above the heavenly formation, that is the Tao formation. The Taoist array is also divided into levels 1 to 9, with the lower third level corresponding to the immortal emperor, the middle third level corresponding to the immortal lord, and the upper third level corresponding to the immortal emperor. And the sect protecting formation of the eternal immortal sect is the 5th grade Tao formation. This is already a very powerful formation, enough to deal with a leader in the immortal realm. But the problem is that the person who is looking for trouble is the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan, who is recognized as the strongest immortal in the Qingtian domain. The 5th grade Tao formation is indeed powerful, but it is nothing in front of others. Seeing the galaxy formation, the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan showed a contemptuous sneer. A formation of this level also wants to block me. He slowly raised his hand, and the immortal energy in a million miles radius was surging. A pitch-black spear condensed, the spear body was surrounded by countless ghostly runes, exuding a misty aura of nothingness. Could this be Shu Zhenguan's top magic, the spear of nothingness? Someone exclaimed. It is rumored that the spear of nothingness can penetrate all things in the world, and its power is unimaginable. Another elder's scalp was numb. Huh, let me break it. The ancestor of Shu Zhenguan gave a cold shout and threw the spear of nothingness in his hand fiercely. Boom! The spear of nothingness pierced the galaxy formation, erupting into unparalleled terrifying fluctuations. The originally very solid galaxy formation suddenly became overwhelmed. Countless planet-like light clusters were shattering, and the entire galaxy-like halo was trembling, and was about to reach the edge of collapse. Oh my god, the sect-protecting formation is about to be broken. Many elders were so frightened that their faces turned pale, and countless disciples were trembling with fear. Sudden changes occur suddenly. A huge blue hand appeared in the sky, firmly grasping the spear of nothingness, and squeezed it to pieces. The sudden change caused the entire audience to fall silent. Who? The ancestor of Shu Zhenguan was shocked and angry. Looking at the entire Qingtian domain, his unique skill can be blocked by less than 5 immortals. This eternal immortal sect actually has such a powerful person sitting in charge. Shu Jun, immortal lord, are you here specifically to die? A mellow voice sounded like a bell, echoing outside the sky. The immortal ancestor appears with his hands behind his back, his posture is as tall and straight as an eternal green pine, and his aloof demeanor is awe-inspiring. Those eyes stared coldly at the thin figure, as if looking at a corpse. Hearing this, the ancestor of Shu Zhenguan became furious. He couldn't believe that someone in the Qingtian territory would dare to speak to him like this. It's the ancestor. Seeing that familiar figure, all the disciples and elders were shocked and excited. It turns out it's you, immortal lord, immortal immortal. Immortal Lord Shu Zhen narrowed his eyes slightly, and there was a sparkle in his eyes. He remembered that this person had a very weak presence among the immortals in the Qingtian domain. His strength was said to be neither above nor below, and he was at the middle level. But when he saw him today, it was very different from the rumors. After all, being able to directly destroy his special skill is already at the upper reaches of the Qingtian domain. An ordinary immortal level strongman would only be seriously injured and dying. Haha, it seems that you have concealed your true strength from the outside world. What a good plan. Immortal Shu Zhen sneered, but these are just trivial tricks for me. It would be easy for me to kill you. This is the confidence and absolute confidence that has made him famous for a long time. The immortal ancestor's eyes were cold to the bone. Oh, then feel free to give it a try. Boom, a monstrous momentum burst out from his whole body, and he raised his hand to grab the skinny figure in the distance. That big blue hand covered the sky and blocked out the sun, emitting a blazing green light. Its immortal power was so powerful that it wanted to make billions of living beings surrender. Your cultivation is actually... A flash of astonishment flashed in Shujun Shanzun's eyes, because the other party's cultivation was actually higher than him. Although there is only a small step difference between the 7th heavenly immortal and the 8th heavenly immortal, the further you go, the greater the qualitative leap. You are really hiding deep, but don't forget that the competition between immortals is not only about cultivation, but also about the power of laws. Immortal Lord Shu Zhen thought of something and shouted violently. An even more terrifying aura permeated, and a full 26 million Dao Shanzun laws filled his palm, gathered into a point, and then burst out like a shock wave. Bang! The blue hand instantly shattered and dissipated. See, this is the difference in strength. Your cultivation is not worth mentioning in my eyes. Shu Zhen Shanzun said proudly. Over the years, he has been concentrating on practicing the Shanzun laws, and condensed millions more, which has led to his mentality becoming more and more inflated and arrogant. Now, seeing that Changsheng Laozu exposed his true cultivation, although it broke his defense at first, fortunately he was able to regain his face from this point. Are you qualified to say me? Changsheng Laozu sneered, and his whole body radiated countless Dao Shanzun laws with a rumble. After counting carefully, there were a full 29 million Daos. It was clear at a glance which of the two was stronger. How is it possible? Seeing this scene, Shu Junxianzun was shocked, his eyes almost popped out, and he felt incredible. Is it too much? Could it be that he, the strongest person in Qingtian domain, is fake? It's okay to be defeated in cultivation, but now he can't even be defeated in the number of laws. What level is this Lao Lu? So cowardly. Shu Junxianzun's face was uglier than eating shit, and there was only one thought in his mind, that is, run. No wonder he had such an idea. After all, whether it was cultivation or the power of laws, he was far weaker than the other party. If he continued to fight, it would be a suicidal act, and he would definitely lose. Come if you want, leave if you want. Have you asked me? Changsheng Patriarch saw the other party's intention, his eyes were full of murderous intent, and his long hair fluttered. Swish, he flashed to the front of this person, took the seal with both hands and slapped it out. Like two dragons going out to sea, a breath of destruction was released, as if to collapse the sky and split the earth. Not good. At this moment, Shu Zhen Shanzun's scalp was numb, so he had to grit his teeth and swing his whisk to resist. Boom boom boom. Two terrible forces collided, the energy flow was magnificent, and the sky showed a broken vision, which was extremely scary. Oh my god, countless cultivators were stunned. You know, the laws of heaven and earth in the immortal world are very complete. If a cultivator like that is a true immortal is in a small world, he is a master-like existence, but in a place like the immortal world, it is a miracle if he can break a boulder with all his strength. So, being able to create such a terrifying scene in the immortal world is like a mortal seeing a god in their eyes. Puff. As a result, after only 2 breaths, Shu Zhen Shanzun was shocked to spit blood and his breath became weak. Get out of here. The ancestor of longevity had a cold face and slapped him without hesitation. Boom boom. A skinny figure fell to the ground like a comet, raising dust all over the sky. Blood kept flowing out of the corner of Shu Zhen's mouth, and he felt that his whole body was about to fall apart. He felt an indescribable shame in his heart. He came all the way here and was beaten into this state. At the same time, he was very frightened by the fighting power of Changsheng Laozu. In this situation, if he didn't escape, he would really have to stay here and wait for death. Shu Zhen Shanzun endured the pain and was about to use the secret escape technique. His whole body began to become translucent, as if he was going to turn into nothingness and dissipate between heaven and earth. Fuck you, who would have thought that Changsheng Laozu was faster than him, and didn't give him a chance to escape. He flashed and punched him. Puff. Shu Zhen Shanzun was interrupted from casting spells, and blood spurted dozens of meters high from his mouth. His expression was more painful than the death of his parents. I was in a bad mood to begin with, and you insisted on coming here to cause trouble. Now you've brought this upon yourself. The face of the Changsheng Patriarch was furious. Thinking of what happened in the secret realm a while ago, he was furious and used Shu Zhen Shanzun as a punching bag, punching him with all his strength. The strongest person in the Qingtian domain, right? You want to destroy my Wanji Yu Xianzong, right? You think you're awesome, right? Speak up. At this moment, the Changsheng Patriarch directly beat up Shu Zhen Shanzun, causing him to spit blood and scream. Witnessing this scene, the strong men who were watching the battle in secret were dumbfounded, especially the cultivators of the Wanji Yu Xianzong, who hissed and gasped. Damn, is the ancestor so powerful? It turns out that the ancestor has been hiding his strength all along. So the strongest person in the Qingtian domain is actually the ancestor of our sect. There was a lot of discussion, and everyone was surprised and happy. After all, as a member of the Eternal Immortal Sect, it is a relationship of prosperity and loss. Now seeing the immortal ancestor Changsheng showing his power and beating the immortal master Shu Zhen who can't take care of himself, he is so excited. Sect Master Wei almost dropped his jaw in shock, his eyes full of disbelief. At first, he thought that the immortal ancestor Changsheng was just talking nonsense, but he didn't expect that he was really powerful. Don't fight, I won't avenge this revenge, can't I? Immortal Master Shu Zhen was beaten like a machine gun and doubted his life. He was covered in blood and looked horrible. He really regretted it. He thought that the Eternal Immortal Sect was a soft persimmon that could be squeezed at will, but he kicked it on the iron plate, and it was the kind with thorns. Why do you treat me like this? I just want to win again. The immortal ancestor Changsheng gritted his teeth and vented his anger and dissatisfaction. Thinking back to that disastrous defeat, he felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, he beat Shu Zhen Shanzun in front of so many people, and he didn't want to pretend anymore. Showdown. I, Changsheng Shanzun, am the strongest person in Qingtian domain. At the same time, a group of people were rushing towards the eternal immortal sect. On the way, Luo Qingwu also heard the news that the ancestor of Shu Zhen Temple had taken action, which frightened her so much that she hurriedly accelerated the process, and she couldn't help but feel anxious. After all, in her impression, the ancestor of Shu Zhen Temple, Shu Zhen Shanzun, has dominated Qingtian domain for a long time and is recognized as the strongest. As for her eternal immortal sect, although the ancestor behind it is also an immortal, he can only be at the middle level and can't fight against the level of Shu Zhen Shanzun. Thinking of the old ancestor Changsheng who stood up for her and protected her growth in the past, he might be beaten to death because of her, Luo Qingwu felt very anxious and uncomfortable. Master, Tang Yaoyao saw Luo Qingwu's bad face and immediately worried about the current situation of the eternal immortal sect. Don't worry, as long as I can't kill you, I can save you, said the Great Mushroom King seriously. Everyone looked strange. Why did this sound strange? Xiaohei, your original intention is good, but this kind of words are unnecessary. Yi Junlin patted his shoulder and smiled bitterly. Oh, the Great Mushroom King lowered his head, still wondering where he said the wrong thing. Soon, the group approached the eternal immortal sect. Shujun kid, there is a reason for the grievance, and there is a master for the debt. If you have the guts, come at me. Luo Qingwu shouted angrily with the bone sword in her hand. However, the scene she expected did not happen, but she saw the scene of the immortal master Shujun being beaten on the ground by the longevity ancestor. What is going on? She was stunned.